Jarvis, drop my needle.
Hello, this is the hardcore legend Mick Foley, and if you are interested in listening to idiots, you came to the right place. Have a nice day.
Woo! That's an attention getter.
He's a very strange young man.
He's an idiot.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Oh my God, he's an idiot.
You know, of course, that you're out of your jurisdiction.
Personally, I think you're an idiot.
But that's the evidence in the car.
But I was going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
Always like to keep my audience riveted.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, friends and fiends, and welcome to Free Range Idiocy, the podcast about everything, but mostly just the stuff we like. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, here at the beginning of the year, we have approached one of the high holy days in the wrestling calendar. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Royal Rumble is rapidly approaching. By the way, the 38th annual Royal Rumble. It's a long-ass time we've been going around on this one. We old rigs. Who is going to win? Who's going to lose? Oh, actually, it's a better question. Who's going to lose? Because it's 29 of those mofos. We're going to get yeeted over the top rope. And, well, actually, no. So what? We got 29 plus 29, so that's 48. No, 40 it's 58. 58 going over the top rope.
Ladies and gentlemen, he did the maths.
I could have just subtracted 30, but I didn't. I decided to add 29 just to make it more difficult.
Why not?
Land loyal. So we're going to run the whole thing down along with some other wrestling because we're not even going to try and hide it, ladies and gentlemen. This episode is all wrestling. If you don't want wrestling, go back to the last couple. We gave you some movies. We gave you some music. This time it's all wrestling. In this episode 192 Royal Rumble preview, I am your Uncle Todd, and with me, as always, the man who still holds the record for the most eliminations in Rumble history. The only problem is it's all in his head canon. He has been my partner in Idiocy for over 2 decades and is hoping he draws a number in the 20s. I give you the man they call Tim.
Greetings and salutations, my friend. Adrenaline in my soul. Every fight out of control. Do it all to get them off their feet. Crowd is here about to blow. Waiting for me to start the show. Out the curtain, lights go up, I'm home. Pardon me for a moment. Whoa!
I was wondering if you were going to do that part. You did
I
not.
didn't do it very well.
Disappoint.
The chair restricted the arms going out there.
Yeah, it's all in the effort.
How are you, sir? As we start this one off with the American Nightmares lyrics.
I'm doing pretty well. I'm another great spoken word interpretation from the man they call Tim to start us off. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well after that. I need to get that poetry out of my system. So,
good.
I'm all cleansed at this point. I'm ready to roll.
It's like wrestling X-Lax. All right, well.
Just when I think, Piper you are, sir. Just when I think I have the answers, you change the questions.
I do what I can. So anyways, we are, like I said before, we are all wrestling all the time in this episode. So needless to say, our wives won't be listening. But then again, they haven't listened to 191 before this. So no Week in Geek, no. We're not even pretending that there is any kind of a Week in Geek because we're going to run through some cheers and jeers for Saturday Night Main Event, and then we're going to go.
The Week in Geek is kind of in a way our version of an undercard. Would you say? You know what I mean? We bits and bobbles, if you will, and instead of trying to rename it or repurpose it, we just
did rename it.
The heck with it. We're going to call it the undercard.
Okay,
for
thanks,
tonight.
Uke. The heck with it.
I must be in the front row.
Must be in the front row.
For us ex-ball players, we get comp tickets. Bingo!
What I like is the one where he's like, I think it was Major League 2, where it's like, he's like, and here's the bitch. Oh, shit.
Oh, the Uke.
I love that one where it's
national treasure.
So the best part was I'll see if I can find this video, but there was a video where Bob Costas was interviewing Euchre and talking about Uke using the cough button.
Okay.
And how he would have parallel commentaries going through the game. So he would do it mostly for like new people in the booth or people he was hanging out with. And so he'd be like, he's coming up to bat here, and he'd press the cough button. He's like, and he hasn't hit for crap the whole friggin' season, and hit, swinging it.
So what he was doing in Major League was actually what he was doing in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And apparently, like, there was some incredible stat where, like, I might have included this when we did the RAP, but like it was like 2 or 3% of all baseball games in the history of Major League Baseball, pre-radio, pre-television, everything. 3% he either participated in as a player or as a broadcaster.
Jeez.
That's how much baseball this man had seen. And apparently Dusty Baker in a very similar boat, just by the length of his managerial career plus a playing career.
Wow.
Insanity that people like have made livings out of this, and yet here we are struggling around for peanuts on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, I feel like we are the Bob Uecker of podcasting.
Just a bit outside.
Anyways, no Week in Geek, so let's just get right to the undercard. We need some sort of a soundbite, though, here.
I feel like we just need the ring bell. Ding, 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 ding. Something like that. Like, get right in. We'll stand for Sheiky.
Ding, ding.
All right. There we go. All right, sir. Well, over the weekend, it has been a wrestle busy kind of time here.
My wife is just not having it anymore.
No.
I watched Saturday Night Main Event, and then on Monday she's like, "What's this?" She's like, "Wrestling again?" I'm like, "Oh, by the way, there's another event on next Saturday."
Sorry, dear, no date night.
Pretty sure she was Googling divorce lawyers.
Good God. All right. Well, this past Saturday, we had another round of Saturday night's Main Event on NBC. And it was a pretty good card all around. I think, I found kind of interesting. We decided to do a cheers, the cheers jeers sort of thing we did last episode for Raw. And so what I found interesting is I think you and I have very similar jeers, and actually not a lot of them. I think this was a pretty solid show. Had a couple things going on, but all in all, pretty good.
A distinct lack of Hogan, who is out with family issues.
Yes, indeed. Family issues.
Oh, it was family commitments. I'm sorry.
Oh, commitments.
Like Corny said, he's got a new wife. He couldn't remember her birthday. Oh, shoot. I got to take everyone out to Longhorn.
Just
sorry.
a bit outside. Yes, I'm starting.
All right. Well, what was a cheer for you, sir?
So let's see. A cheer for me. Let me see. Rhea. So I'm going to start, beginning of the card toward the main event. I thought Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax had a serviceable match.
Considering it's Nia Jax, I put it down as Rhea coaxed a decent match out of Nia.
Yeah.
It was shockingly okay.
Yeah, it was. And there was a point where you thought Rhea might have messed up, or there was a transition you thought may have been a little rough. It looked like she was going for Hurricane Rana, but I think it was part of it. Nia stopped her and then lifted her up, and then she went into the code red that she flipped Nia into for a pin or something like that.
Yeah,
and so I mean, just all around it was just solid, and I felt Rhea did a great job of making Nia look competent, make her look somewhat of a
how low is the bar for Nia Jax?
A little bit of a killer. You know what I mean? Like it's one thing to see Nia throw Bailey around, but it's another thing when she's Rhea Ripley is one of the taller and kind of more well built women in the division, and so
but she sells. That's the thing.
Well, right, yes, and she does that very well. So even at the end of the match, I thought she was injured, because she, the way she was just kind of, composing herself. I'm like, oh gosh, I hope she's not really hurt.
Which is always a danger with Nia. Yeah.
Tell me about it. So that was my first cheer. What about you, sir? What is a cheer from your side? Well, or I guess you already said Nia.
Yeah, I'll go with a jeer.
Okay.
I'm going to go with, this is kind of a double-headed jeer. Number one, Braun Strowman just kind of feeling real stale at this point, and the late blood came out of nowhere. Like it was almost an obvious sort of like blood capsule situation or something, because that he was not bleeding from the mouth, it seemed before, and then he was. Although I get the point, like I get what they're trying to do with Jacob Fatu to make him look vicious, and mission accomplished there, but it's really tough to get excited about Strowman because he's kind of turned into generic big guy.
Yeah.
And the guy has a personality. I've seen interviews with him. Like he's actually kind of an interesting cat to listen to.
Yeah. Yeah.
But none of that comes across in his ring persona right now.
No.
So, meh. How about you?
My jeer on that front with Braun Strowman was actually I guess I'll go with my first one. Jesse Ventura getting heated with Pat McAfee at the end of the Sheamus Braun Breaker match was really strange. Jesse was convinced the referee had counted 3, and then looked up and saw the foot on the rope, which I don't think was what actually happened.
Yeah.
And Pat was trying to like talk him, like I think Pat was trying to rein him in a little bit and be like, Jesse, that didn't happen. And he wanted nothing to do with it. He counted 3. He was blind. And someone probably in his earpiece or something was saying, Jesse, you're arguing for the face. You normally argue for the heel.
Yeah. It was literally, Pat had the tone of like someone trying to like, de-escalate grandpa when they're at the Sizzler and for some reason they're out of something. And yeah, it was very odd.
It was very uncomfortable.
He seemed a little bit more lost during this episode than he did previously. But I mean, that's just sort of the way it is with an older gentleman, and also with Jesse Ventura in general.
Yes. Related to what you said about Braun Strowman, though, I'll just say Strowman looking slow as hell doing his trucking around the ring shtick. Like, I don't know if I've just been spoiled, or if we have just been spoiled by Braun Breaker and seeing.
I think that's part of it.
The lightning speed that he runs around the ring at. But when you see Strowman do this now, it just looks plodding and just slow. And I'm just like, are you worried you're going to hurt Fatu or something? Because it's like even when he made contact, it was kind of like, he just like, I remember Strowman looking more impressive when he would do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the deal is. So he just, something seemed off with him too.
Yeah.
With that, but I got to say that was a impressive match. Let's swing back to the cheers. What's a cheer for you, sir?
A banger from Sheamus and Braun.
Ah, yes.
That was a physical as hell match, and it was fun to watch. If you don't mind me segueing right into a jeer, though, like and this isn't so much a jeer as a cautionary, sort of maybe I don't know what's between a cheer and a jeer, a look of gas maybe. I don't know how long they can keep doing this shtick where will Sheamus win the IC belt? Like we're now on what, the second match?
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know how much longer you can stretch this without something else entering the fray in terms of stakes.
I got it.
You got it. What they're going to wrestle for the custody of Pete Dunne next?
No. IC title on the line. If Sheamus can't win, he retires.
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
That's the only. I feel like that's the only angle you can go from here, because now Breaker has now beat him convincingly twice, so he has very little.
I don't know how convincingly. Like both times, Sheamus has looked good, but Braun won clean for sure.
Like I don't mean convincingly, like he dominated him, but
okay.
he clearly. He didn't put him away by accident. Like he hits his finisher, he knocks him out, he gets the 3 count. You know what I mean? Like he looks impressive in victory. But you're absolutely right. Both matches so far, Sheamus has looked like $1 million against this guy. Like they they literally look like they're brawling each other. It's just very impressive to see them go. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, how on earth are these two not injured after this match? Because God, they just lay into each other like crazy.
Yeah.
But I just feel like putting his career on the line would bring that extra, drama to the match, because now every pinfall, people are going to be on the edge of their seats. Like, is this it for him? Is this it for him?
Yeah.
And they've seen him lose twice already. So you can play with that now to really get the crowd emotionally invested in what happens, and maybe that's the point where he finally wins and he gets the IC belt. And so, so I don't know, but there's no bit, like they're not doing it at Royal Rumble.
No.
I don't know if they're going to do it on Raw again or if they're going to wait for a Saturday night's main event.
I hope they kind of
you've
put
got
it
to
off
do
to like
that.
Elimination Chamber.
Or
if you're really going to do it, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
But then, I mean, I don't know how you extend this to WrestleMania. That's the thing. You know?
Yeah.
Maybe they can. Who knows?
Yep.
What do you got for a cheers? A cheer here, sir.
A cheer. So to go along with you, Sheamus and Braun with another physical match. It was really, really well done. I just want to mention, shout out to Jesse Ventura for breaking out the reference to the Steiner math.
And McAfee picking right up on it.
And taking the side of the baby face on this. Yeah, Jesse was all in on Sheamus. He was all about 14 years ago being around for something that Sheamus did that was big and that set his career off. And, you know,
it was a battle royal, I think, or something.
Yeah, battle royal or something.
He mentioned it like 5 times, and I still don't remember it.
But to your point, like, yeah, he mentioned it 5 times, and I'm just sitting there like, Jesse, it happened 14 years ago. This guy's career has been like, why do you keep, he literally said that every single time. And it's like, he's not a guy whose career is on the rise here. He's a guy whose career is about to come to a close because he's wrestled for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jesse was, they got to figure out how to rein him in a little bit. Cause he's a little,
give him a little ginkgo biloba or something.
Yeah. A little bit. And then one other cheer I had moving into the Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens contract signing, which, by the way, I don't know. Actually, I have a jeer for this as well that I don't have written down. But Cody was all business, I felt. I really loved his intensity on the mic.
Yep.
I loved his attitude. And when Kevin started going to his whiny shtick, he just shut him down and just, sign the contract. He's like, the guy's ready to throw fists at this point. He's done talking. And so I loved it. HBK, I also want to say too, is like, guys, HBK kind of showing us a little bit about what HBK as a dad must be like at home. He's like, guys, I'm leaving here with a contract signed. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah.
We can do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way.
Yeah. Gentlemen, have a seat. Okay. I guess not.
So that was well done. And then, of course,
what would have only been better is like, well, I wish I hadn't brought the chairs out. We had to pay a union guy for this, I'm part of the office now. Like, that's money.
Could have saved a couple bucks there.
Jeez.
By the way, loved Kevin Owens coming out in the Cody Sucks Eggs shirt. Yes. Not to be forgotten that was a Terry Funk, I believe, shirt that he wore when he faced the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
And Dory Funk Jr. in attendance.
I didn't realize he was still alive.
I had no idea. I don't know if he knows.
Yeah. He was mumbling something.
He was, and God bless him, dude. I mean, hey, I hope I'm up and around, at that age, and also, after that many injuries. Like, hey, good on you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, oh, yeah.
I had honestly thought he had passed away before Terry.
I did, too.
Once Terry died, that was it, as far as the Funk, wrestling family. But no, Dory is still with us and trucking along, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So just overall, I thought that was a really well done segment. Miraculously, no one went through a table.
No, but we did get you don't lay your hands on HBK.
Oh no, not without a little sweet chin music, and
which was great because they actually got the perfect angle for it, because when he got in the ring, if you notice, HBK, when he got in the ring, he stumbled a little bit as he was he was trying to do his little strut on the outside before going through the ring ropes, and there was a little bit of a hitch.
Oh, okay.
And then when he got down to try and do the flex, and he could only get about halfway to where he used to, and I'm like, hey, dude, HBK, I feel you. I feel you on that one.
Yeah.
So when he started tuning up the band, I was like, oh man, this could be bad. And then they shot it at the perfect angle where it looked like $1 million.
Yeah.
Looks like $1 million. I only wish they could have gotten him a better stunt hat, because that thing went from looking kind of like, well, yeah, that was cool like 20 years ago, to all of a sudden now it's like you look like Gomer Pyle coming out of the
look like an extra on Hee Haw.
Like, good sweet Lord. Like, I know you want to hide the bald spot, dude.
Yeah.
I get it, but get a chin strap next time or something, because
I
that
do
was
feel
not
like
a good look.
I do feel like there was a look of irritation on his face when the hat came off because of that very reason. Like I was watching, when he put the hat back on, he was muttering something, just
Oh yeah,
not happy that everyone could see the hair situation at that point. So
at that point, it's like it wasn't that Owens potatoed or anything like that. It was like, I'll take a punch, but God, don't knock the hat off.
Nope.
Don't mess with the hair or the lack thereof.
Yes.
Oh man, but yeah, that was good times.
That was good.
What do we got here?
I think my jeer was that we had no one go through the table. Basically, I think that was my jeer.
Yeah, I guess. What do you got for a cheer? Because I think we're almost to your last
Let me
one.
see.
There.
I love the tail of the tape for the Strowman Fatu match.
I missed that.
I felt like they did a little bit of build to it, given some context around these two and why they're feuding. Loved Jacob Fatu's pre-match promo.
Yes.
Felt he really brought the energy, and it's great to hear him talk. Like he's not. I mean, certainly he is like he's literally kind of redefining the phrase "wild Samoan" in the 21st century.
Well, all we've heard him say before this is "I love you, Solo." Like,
yeah,
that was it. And it's like, is this like an I am Groot sort of thing? Like if he has to go pee, does he be like, "I love you, Solo"? And that's like, I mean, I didn't know. I didn't know if that was going to be his gimmick. So yeah, that was it was nice to hear from him for sure.
Absolutely. The one thing so let's see, I did the Fatu pre-match. What was the other thing? I'll throw in or do you want to do a cheer and then I'll throw in a cheer, or do you want to save your cheer to the end?
I don't really got a cheer. Like I there wasn't much after that. I've got maybe a couple of jeers, but
I'm looking at your jeers. I'm sorry. Yeah.
One of them is firmly aligned with yours.
Yes. The one thing I was going to say, and I don't know how you felt about this. I felt, like what they did with Strowman, I felt could have looked better if his head was more in the range of where Fatu was hitting. I felt like at certain points he was so far beneath the middle turnbuckle.
Yeah.
And you see where Fatu's hitting, and you're just kind of like, okay, but what's he hitting? That's causing Strowman. Like if I'm really trying to nitpick this,
Yeah, which I mean, the angle. I think the angle was right. I think Strowman just wasn't in position.
Yeah,
because I think Fatu was in the same spot he normally is. I don't know if Strowman was maybe a little concerned about about getting his
getting
head
seriously rocked. Yeah, could be.
Or if it was just, in his selling, he just wasn't in the right position and had an off night with that. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, I don't feel like I've seen Strowman enough lately I don't have a great memory of him, being great at selling or what. The angle certainly didn't help. But that is the angle that you want to shoot for something like that. Like that's the angle you want to get. And that didn't, you're totally right on that one.
Yeah. What else? I think that's. Oh, and then just another cheer for the match was just Jacob Fatu is an animal. In case we didn't know.
Yeah, no, I mean he came out looking like $1 million, even though the match was meh. I like the way that they're playing up who he is.
Yeah.
Without it being like just a no sell fest.
Right.
Because that was starting to bother me. It's like, okay, are we just going to play the fact that like nothing hurts this guy? Because then what do you do? What stops him from taking every championship?
Yep.
Especially without him being on like a leash by Solo now. It's like, how do you do that? So that worked.
I thought a great effect, and this probably was not one of those planned things, and it's kind of gross, but I think having the spittle in the beard while he was doing his thing was actually really effective. Like he literally looked like a madman at that point. Like he just did not care. And and it was great to see Tama Tonga come out. He's trying to hold him back. It's like, nope, no one can hold this guy back. It's like, oh dear.
Yeah.
You probably should just do the yeah thing to him a little bit and see if you can calm him down or something.
That's his version of like, sun's going down, big guy.
Indeed. Oh, indeed. Do I have anything? And then the main event we need to talk about.
Really?
Well, I cheered it because I felt it. Gunther looked, similar to Braun Breaker. When I say this, I don't mean he wiped the floor with Jay, but I felt like Gunther had another round where he just looked dominant in victory.
Yes,
where he just nailed those two power bombs and just put them away. And But the thing the thing that stunk was the fact that, it's becoming formulaic with a lot of these matches that you have guys hitting finishers and stuff and people kicking out of them. And it's just like, when is something really going to knock someone out, and this goes back
Yeah.
to last week when we talked about Penta a little bit, where, like, I hope they don't overplay and overdo, that arm maneuver that he has, because that could actually be a really good, kind of put it over the edge, sort of put him away kind of a move. And he doesn't have to do it all the time. Sometimes the Penta driver is enough, or whatever. I'm surprised he doesn't try to put someone away with a Mexican destroyer. I mean, that thing looks freaking ridiculous when he does it. I mean, it's so nasty looking. So anyway, yeah, but I thought it was a good, I thought it was about as good a match as you're going to get out of Jay. Gunther can only do so much. I mean, he has far more tools in the toolbox than Jay does. And Jay, once again, was doing what Jay does. And you're just kind of like, all right, like, how are you doing damage to this guy? Anyways, I've babbled enough. What were your thoughts?
I've got two jeers on this one. First being that it is annoying that the announcers are putting Jay over so big, like that. Oh my gosh, he just by a whisker, stood toe to toe with Gunther, and it's like, I get that people like him. I get that his entrance is so over. It is baffling to me how over his intro is and how over he is. And I think I caught a glimpse of like the Busted Open podcast, and Mark Henry was on there and basically saying like, the people have chosen, like, and you have to roll with that. Like, the people like him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it's okay. They can like him, but really? But so it's kind of annoying hearing the announcers try and like put him over as like this, great combatant, when it's like, all it is punches. I mean, I did appreciate how basically they put over his super kick when he finally landed it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that Gunther managed to outwit him, and it was the only time that Jay could really come in and get him with it.
Yeah.
I did appreciate that. I thought that was kind of an interesting way to sell it. So, kudos to them on that, like a little mini cheer. The other jeer I have is it's just another example of a big move followed by a big move, and where you have, one guy hit a big move that should, at the very least, be a pause in the match, and it isn't. And that was when we got the Gunther power bombs, because Jay, I forget what he was coming off the top rope or something, and was it? Did he hit him with the Uso splash?
Yeah, he hit him with the Uso splash. Yep.
So he hit him with a splash off the top rope, and then Gunther rolls right out of it and doesn't hit him with one power bomb, two power bombs right in a row, and puts him away. And I'm like, okay, I guess that shows Gunther is really good, but what does it say about Jay that, like, after this entire event, that Gunther was able to deliver two power bombs in a row and put this guy away?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it makes Gunther look great, but how do you say that Jay's offense? I mean, it doesn't make Jay's offense, but at the same time, like, what do you do?
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do with Jay. They had to have two commercial breaks over this thing, and I think that was primarily to hide Jay.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much kick punch you can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking to myself, why isn't he trying to work on Gunther's leg or something like that? Like, why isn't he trying? And I know, we've talked about this before, and you've hit on this, is probably because he doesn't have that in his move set.
He doesn't have to. And it may be at this point where it's like, it's just too late for, an old, because we forget, like, Jey Uso is not a spring chicken. He's not like some fresh-faced 22-year-old kid roaming around there. I mean, what is he? He's in his 30s,
but I mean,
30s?
You can't do a chop block to the back of the leg like they used to do. Like that's how, I mean, that's the part that I just don't get. It's like, how can you not do some of those things, to just layer in some drama into the match or something? It's
again, by the way, for the record, Jey Uso is 39 years old.
All right.
Which, I mean, I guess Jimmy Uso is also 39 years old, just for completion.
I'm glad you worked that math out. You are far better than Scott Steiner.
I'm not sure who wins by the minutes there, but it. I don't know if it's a case of he just doesn't feel like he needs to. If it's a matter of whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is, right now, he doesn't really have to.
Yeah.
He's coasting on his intro and all that. I have a feeling if you put the belt on this guy, it's going to be readily apparent fairly soon, like how weak of a champ he'll be. Because he only has so much dynamic range on the mic. He displayed a little bit more on Raw. I'll give him that. But he only has so much range on the mic, and he only has so much range in the ring. And he's got an intro that eventually people are going to get tired of it. People will.
Yeah.
People get sick of stuff after a while.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah, I agree.
That's all I got to say about that.
Although I need to go back and watch when he had matches with Braun Breaker and won the IC belt, because I remember those matches were actually, like, I didn't watch them, but I remember reading about them and, in cage side seats, and, the guys there were just like gushing about, the matches, just the chemistry the two of them had. And I remember being kind of surprised by that because of what we've talked about before, like just the limited nature of Jay's offense. And so I don't know if it was just, Breaker just, is one of those guys that can just make other guys look like $1 million, or if
maybe
Jay busted out some moves. I don't know.
Maybe it was just the combination of the personalities along with
could be
how quickly they could work with each other. Because that's the other thing. Like, Jay can move fairly quick.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, he can move a lot quicker than I could at 39. That's 10 years in my rear view mirror almost. And, I ain't ashamed to say it. Maybe that's it. The fact that, you have two guys who are pretty quick movers, that it's one of those deals where it's like, you don't notice that it's the same three moves over and over if they just happen really quickly. Maybe that was it. I don't know. I can't remember if I saw any of those matches. Obviously, they didn't stand out in my mind.
No.
If I did.
No. All right. Well, that is our curtain jerker match here. Was the Saturday
on to Raw
main event. Now we move on to Monday Night Raw.
Netflix and Raw.
Indeed.
I feel dirty every time I say that.
Well, what say you, sir? What's a Raw cheer you had from this one?
I got to give a cheer for Seth freaking Rollins wearing an outfit from the Blanche Devereaux collection. Dude looked like someone, like an extra from the Golden Girls when he walked out in that. I'm like, where the hell did that come from?
Friend.
That's like I'm baffled by some of his wardrobe choices, and I was more baffled by that one.
Hey, if he can be loud and proud, he is going to do it.
I guess so. Yeah, that was. But I mean, it was funny, and there's something to be said for that. I gotta say, like, dude, I think Seth Rollins is one of those guys that it's a little bit like kind of like heavy metal for me, or like speed metal or something like that. Like, I can appreciate the skill. It's just never going to be my favorite thing. Like, something about his voice, his presentation, something about him. Just after a while, I'm like, I'm done with this guy. I know he's talented. I know he can do some great things, but it's not my jammy jam.
No.
So I got to admit, giving him the cheer for the whatever suit that was, I was like, all right, here's your Christmas present, Seth, early.
Gotcha.
Or late, depending on how you look at it. What do you got for a cheer, sir?
I thought that Seth and Gunther's exchange was interesting. One thing I just want to just real quickly jump back to on Saturday's main event, which I was concerned about, but thankfully didn't happen, was at the end of the Gunther Jay match. Gunther's in the ring and he looks back at Jay, and I'm like, I sat there and literally said, "Do not walk towards Jay and shake his hand. You're a heel. Get the heck out of the ring. Don't do it." Because like we talked about last week, it's killing him. It's just like, what do you want the crowd to do? Like, he acts like a sportsman and people want to cheer that behavior, and then he goes out there and acts arrogant and tears people down. It's like, come on, don't shake their hand then. Be the arrogant prick that you are. Sorry.
Yeah. Or do like the Lucy taking the football away and off your hand and then smack the hell out of him or something.
But he had that look on his face, like a look of respect. And I'm like,
no, don't
figure out what you want to do with this guy. He's either going to be a sportsmanship, athletic based kind of character that is going to be respectful and honor people when they put up a good fight, but he's just a dominant champion, or let him be the heel that's the, complete arse, and stick with it, but just pick a lane and stick with it, for crying out loud. So it was good to see him come out, but again, it's the same tired shtick where he comes out and he's just dismissive. He acts like he's going to compliment his opponent, and then he says something to undercut it all, and just like, all right, yeah, we've been here and done that. Logan Paul. So Logan Paul coming out.
Oh my gosh.
You have a cheer on this one. Go ahead.
Logan Paul surpassed Dom in heat that night. Oh my good sweet mama.
Yeah.
Just like got the boo treatment. I don't know if someone was holding up a sign telling people to boo. Like they just booed him, like you said, out of the building.
Yeah.
And I appreciate, because Seth and Gunther was good going back and forth, but then you add Logan Paul and he comes in, he does his shtick, and you all of a sudden now you have Seth and Gunther on the same page. Where Gunther's like, you know what? I changed my mind. I want you to win the Royal Rumble so I can beat your ass. And then Seth backing up, like, you know what? I kind of want to see that.
Yeah.
Like that was a nice, beautiful way to wrap that segment up. I thought, and to add a little curveball to it.
And when
that overall was great.
When Paul came down the aisle, though, before he said a word, and people are booing or whatever, he just. One of the things that I think is why he's why he's money, even though he hasn't been in the business as long as a lot of these folks, is, my God, does he have a punchable face? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You see him and
he knows it.
Oh yeah, he knows it. And like for me, it's like there are people in my past, like from college or even maybe from high school, where he reminds me of them, even though he's not them. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, I remember arrogant people like you that I wanted to just, take a bat to.
Yeah, it's that thing that you tell your kids, like, you're going to start meeting the same people over and over and over again.
Yep.
They'll have a different face and they'll have a different name, but they're going to be the same person that you knew back at your first job or that you knew in high school. Get yourself geared up for it. It will happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. And
so,
he is that guy.
Oh, he is 100%. But I really thought that was a great opener, and his proper use of Logan there. And then I think I have a jeer. Well, to that point, that's my jeer. I just wrote Logan Paul. That is all. Is just to see him absorb TV time was just, oh God, why this guy?
But that is the thing.
I know.
Like, if you get like the marks like us, who are just like, oh my God. And it's not like go away, like you're legit just like, I can't stand this frigging guy.
Yep.
Job accomplished, man.
100%.
Yep.
I'll go with another jeer and tell me if you agree with this. The shorter Creed brother needs to go. So Chad Gable's running with the Creed brothers. There's one that's taller who, is he's working on his speaking. He's getting there. And then you have the younger one who, like 3 weeks ago, this guy couldn't figure out what he wanted to do with his hair. Apparently someone took some shears to the side of his head at least and left whatever that is on top. And now he's apparently cackling like a hyena now is what his shtick is. People say stuff and he's just like, and I'm just like.
So he's turning into Salacious Crumb.
Basically, you know what? He is the Salacious Crumb to Chad Gable's Jabba. So.
And they need to start working on that and making that a thing.
But here's what I don't understand. Like when I had heard of the Creed brothers in NXT, not that I was watching the product very much, but from what I read, really good technical team, just seemed to have a really good look and could wrestle really well. Mm-hmm. And then they get to the main roster, and Vince isn't in the equation at this point, so can't blame him. Mm-hmm. But there's something about the booking with them, like they came in when the whole Wyatt 6 thing started, so they never even had a chance to get any momentum going.
Yeah,
and the part that I find so strange is, and I don't remember when I did see them in NXT, I don't remember this being the case, but I feel like nothing is done to make them look good. You know what I mean? Like the shorter brother, like literally, his hair was just like it wasn't done at all. It was just like he rolled out of bed and showed up to work, and I'm like. Why am I supposed to get intimidated or feel any sort of respect for this guy? He looks like an absolute piece of mess of a mess of a person.
Okay, well, I mean, I agree out of solidarity with you, my brother.
Oh,
but let's also like address the elephant in the room, that you're just really angry that he has hair.
I'm not angry about that. I'm not angry about that.
I feel like you're lashing out.
I'm angry about the presentation. The presentation is
we need to
subpar.
bring this to the group.
Subpar.
I feel there's some emotions here that you have been burying that need to come out. This is a safe place.
Not at all.
This is a safe place.
Not at all.
Actually, it's not a safe place.
No, I agree. It's a safe place. I didn't mean to say not at all that. I am not at all.
It isn't a safe place because I will use everything you say against you.
Will be used against you in idiot's court of law. So,
dun, dun.
Now presiding, Uncle Todd.
And he's drunk.
Didn't you used to have people's court?
Did.
Oh, God,
But I don't know if we ever had it on the soundboard. That was back in the days when I would actually we did have it on the soundboard. Maybe I'll bring that.
You know what I miss that we need to bring back?
What's that?
The Chips music.
Ah, yes. Those songs went way harder than they had any right to.
They did. We also need a little Smokey and the Bandit. It's been a while since we've had that.
I've only got 10 spots. That's the thing. Like, go ahead and lobby Zencaster for more spots.
They're files.
I'll put them all on.
Just have them on the computer. You have a state-of-the-art computer. Have a folder. Have all the sounds. Just rotate them.
I'm not dancing around with all this because then you're going to treat me like a jukebox and you're going to want it like, hey, play this thing. Play this
I'm not. I'm simply trying to.
The hell you aren't. You do it every time. You're like, play some Cult of Personality.
The show evolve. Well, because the people want to hear it.
Oh, the people.
The people. Hey, you look like Dory Funk right there. Wow, I haven't seen Uncle Todd do the muttering shtick, but man, he's got it down. Did you have a good conversation with yourself there?
Anyways, let's see what else we have.
What else?
I'll go for a jeer here. The sheer length of Jey Uso's entrance
100%.
for a promo. Good Lord, that was interminable. I mean, on the other hand, it was nice to see, like, again, like, I just don't understand how this his entrance is over like Rover, man.
Yep.
And I do give him some credit, like doing the promo from the announcer's desk was kind of an interesting thing, and I did feel like he had a bit more dynamic to his promo. I felt like it was a bit. There was something else there.
Yeah.
And I give him some credit for that. Man, I would just love to see him break out a suplex or something. Like, I don't know what, but just a little something different would be nice. And then I could be into this, but good sweet Lord.
Yep.
What do you got for a cheer? Anything?
I loved the New Day. I love smack talking Kofi on the outside, just talking up his man in the ring, Xavier Woods. I love Xavier Woods hurt that his family hadn't shown up when the match started.
Oh, what about the whole backstage promo where it's like Atlanta's favorite son and
yes,
Kathy Kelly ran everyone, like anybody who had ever been around Atlanta was named.
That was phenomenal.
Before we got to Xavier Woods.
That was great. That was absolutely great. I also love
such an old school trick, but it was so well executed.
Yeah, and I love how Pete Dunne and who was the other guy who was there? One of Gunther's lackeys. I can't think of his name though.
Oh, it was
Ludwig Kaiser.
Yeah.
And I love how like the New Day say something to them, and even both of them are just like, we don't want anything to do with you.
Even though, like, you're a face, I'm a heel. We're gonna walk off together rather than deal with these two putzes.
Absolutely.
Like, that is the level heel heat that the New Day has, which is great.
Yes.
And I love how basically they're kind of not in a hurry to do much with this, and because it's working so well right now, it's just a nice way to park some heat. It's like an investment fund.
Yeah, basically.
And the heat just continues to grow exponentially. It's lovely.
Yeah. No, and that was great. I love the whole thing where Mysterio puts him away, right in front of his family, and then Mysterio goes out there and puts on the shirt and is kind of hanging, and you can tell like maybe his family didn't quite get the sequence of events, but they all sit down while he's celebrating, and then they all stand up again, and it was just like So funny.
Hey, they were trying, like it obviously wasn't plants. Like
No,
that was obviously like Woods' family.
Absolutely.
I got to cheer here for Sami Zayn meeting everyone and his brother in the hallway, and none of them like crossing paths on the way to or from Sammy. And the fact that it freaked out Sammy more and more, like I like how there's a little bit of self-awareness to the backstage segments now, because it used to be like this would just be a thing, and everyone would act like it's normal, and Sammy just gets progressively more freaked out as it happens. Like, where are you all coming from?
Right.
Like you hiding behind road cases. Oh,
yeah. When
great.
Cody appeared and he it's like that was phenomenal. I had a chuckle at that one. That was good.
Yeah.
What was his response again when he approached Punk about not being on his level, and I'm trying to remember how that exchange went. It wasn't terribly memorable, but
no, I can't remember how it went.
It wasn't like there were some zingers there, but
I kind of did like I watched it last night, and then somehow I managed to forget. I speed watched like the second half of it right before the show, and I'm still lacking in details. But no, it wasn't terribly memorable. And then Cody didn't even really say anything, which was kind of like Cody's shtick for the night was to be slightly, off kilter.
Yeah.
Which worked.
Definitely.
What else we got? I'm going to call out one of your here. McAfee telling Cole never to dap again.
Yeah.
Well, explain that one to me.
Apparently, I don't know the guy that was with Uso. He must be some Atlanta, artist or something. But he went to do like a hand, like, and again, I'm watching this on the train this morning. He goes to do some sort of, slap hand sort of thing. I guess it's called dapping. I'm just copying what McAfee called it. And Cole just failed every single time with it. And I love how McAfee is lecturing him, and he's like, basically he shakes his hand. He's like, this is all you do. Do not do anything beyond this. This is what you can handle. Do not try anything. And I mean, Cole was taking it like a champ. He was laughing along with it and stuff. But McAfee is absolutely hysterical. It's just like, do not try to do this again. You look like an idiot.
Which is kind of Cole's shtick.
It is. It is. That is funny.
Well, I didn't write anything down after this because of everything, but I'm going to hop on your next cheer. The Wise Man making an appearance and unfurling, if you will, and even if you won't, the big WWE 2K25 banner
with the tribal chief on it.
And I didn't notice Heyman down in the corner.
He's down in the lower right. Just
which is great. And Heyman does his whole spiel and all that, and then we get McIntyre coming out, and McIntyre and the Wise Man was just gold.
Yeah,
that was a great back and forth. And McIntyre like holding his own in the ring with one of the best talkers, and McIntyre I think over the past year, McIntyre has proved himself to be like way better on the mic than I ever thought he was.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I don't know if it's maybe like he feels like really at home at this in this gimmick right now or what it is, but man, those two just clicked in the ring, and it was great. It was great to watch.
Yeah, I would agree, and I love the callback, to him kind of being, the one who started all of this, and stating facts, and it was absolutely right. Like once he beat Brock Lesnar, Heyman wasn't on TV for the longest time. And, when things started to, settle out a little bit with COVID and Roman could come back and it was, a safer environment, now you had the Wise Man with him, and that's how he got, the entire tribal chief, and bloodline stuff going, which was incredible. I mean, it's great how the investment they've made over the last 4 years is paying off, because they can keep going back to the storyline and just keep pulling threads from it that you never really even thought of. And so, the fact he was asking for a thank you was funny. And, but I absolutely love the end of it when Heyman's about to walk off and this was so well done. And McIntyre tells him to tell his boy that he's going to be targeting him. And everything they did up to this point was so heavy on Roman that you don't even think about Punk. And then he's like, I'm not talking about, and he says, oh yeah, I'll tell the tribal chief. And he's like, I'm not talking about him. He's like, I'm talking about Punk. And I'm wondering if that's a little bit of foreshadowing, and we'll get into this when we get to the Rumble, on what could end up happening in the Rumble, because this could be a Heyman divided cannot stand.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of Heyman to divide. That's a lot of Heyman to.
That is true. That is true.
However you want to slice it.
Yeah.
Did you catch the part where he talked, where McIntyre is talking about and he's like, you swam back to shore, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah, I know. He had to qualify that statement. I thought was phenomenal. That
Which
was
is,
great.
I mean, I feel that's very insulting because Paul is very buoyant. I mean, he wouldn't have to paddle that much. He could float for a long period of time.
Yeah, he does seem like he has the buoyancy thing down.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just,
he could just catch the current and just kind of.
Yeah, just get pulled to shore.
Even the sharks would be like, I got to watch my cholesterol.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, that was great. Oh yeah, I guess we ought to talk about one of your jeers here as well. The tag match on the show. Which
the War Raiders Judgment Day match, that just felt kind of clunky to me. It didn't seem to get into a gear, and the we'll talk about JD McDonough in a minute, but the War Raiders, I don't know. It's just like something was off, like they even went for their finisher, and it's an impressive finisher, but when he went to go try to hit it, it's like he just wasn't jumping off the ropes with enough spring, and it was just kind of like,
it was an off night for them.
Yeah.
For the and I'm not going to blame it all on JD.
No.
But then again, I mean, maybe part of that is their opponents being shook up and being like, man, do we got to watch this guy? Like,
right.
Taking extra care of him and stuff. Like because I could see that. Like,
sure, yeah, that's.
But
true.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that just kind of threw them all off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. It was clunky. I don't know whether to give it a cheers or a jeers, man. That JD McDonough thing where, if you weren't watching, like JD McDonough did a moonsault to the outside of the ring and caught his head on the announce table. And when I say caught his head, he was in full rotation. So his head
going
came
backwards.
Back at like terminal velocity and
just
not
whacked
just
the table. Yeah.
It would have, I mean, at least if it had been his shoulders and head, but it was really just like upper neck and head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was terrifying to watch. I remember I out loud was like, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, he's got to be out cold. He's got to be out cold, and he's probably concussed, and is probably, hopefully he's going to be able to walk.
Yeah.
And then the fact he continued the match.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where I'm like, I felt really odd with them continuing the match, especially where they've been more conscious of concussions. They've been more conscious of bleeding and things like that. However, I can see the defense of the ref, or the defense afterwards being like, he told the ref that he was okay. He seemed like he was with it. We're in the heat of the moment. Live TV, if he says he can go, and you watch him, and I'm amazed that he was able to still wrestle to the level that he did. Like, if you watch the rest of that match, you would not have known that he had that injury.
Yeah.
And I can understand fully why he did it, because this is a dude he's not in the upper mid card. He's not in the upper card. He's fighting for his spot, and he's fighting for every minute he gets on TV, and according to a WrestleMania, like he collapsed either right after he got through the curtain or right before he went through the entryway.
Oh, really?
And apparently he posted on Twitter, X, whatever the frack it's called these days, that he has a couple busted ribs and a punctured lung.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But so he's going to be out for a few months, but apparently he's okay. As okay as you're going to be after that. So
yeah.
Kudos to him, man. But also, like, oh God, hopefully this isn't going to affect him long term.
Yeah.
Because it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think what unsettled me, along with hearing and seeing it, and then seeing the replay and the force of the impact, what really hit me was Cole and McAfee. Cole was calling for medical help, and
yes,
you kind of thought it was part of the show, but there was an urgency to it that you could kind of tell. And then McAfee was he was kind of beside himself. He was like,
yeah, he's like, if this happened in an NFL game, we stop the game.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's the first time that McAfee has kind of run into something like that in his tenure as a commentator, one of those moments where you're like, oh crap, in the real sports,
Yep.
this, like, everything halts until we
Right.
thoroughly check this human being out.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was.
And I
yeah.
think there was an article on Cage Side Seats. Yeah, it was actually an article about JD McDonough's, condition and everything, and they kind of posted about, what you just talked about. But they were saying, or whoever wrote it was kind of arguing that, this was a rare case, because typically WWE's really, they seem to be on the ball with this stuff. But from their perspective, they just felt like they didn't do enough. Like, there wasn't any medical help that came and checked on JD McDonough. He continued with the match.
Yeah.
Who knows if he has, latent or delayed, concussion symptoms.
He's
that
got to be concussed.
Right.
He's got to be.
Yeah.
There's no way that your brain. I mean, and I know that they were joking about the size of his head, which I'm guessing is a reflex to try and, like, leaven the feeling there. But I mean, there's no way your brain bangs off the back of the inside of your skull like that, and there's not some kind of damage.
No.
Jeez.
Yeah. No, that was an insane. I mean, the spot was impressive, the way he did the moonsault and the way it landed. But yeah, just they've got to reevaluate the way they've set that up, because if they're going to have people do moves like that on the outside, you have to factor in that over rotation sometimes, and
yeah, I think
there's nowhere for him to go, except on the table. So
I think there's a case to be made that with some of this stuff, like, you've got to start reining some of these things in. Like, we're already seeing, like, the announce table is not collapsible anymore. So we're not going to be having the jumping from the top rope to the announce table spots, and we're not, like, and I'm glad for that, because one, it was very cliche.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, somebody's going to get hurt doing that, like, trying to up that game every time. And I think that there's a good case to be made with a lot of the injuries they've had lately. It's like, you don't need to be doing some of this stuff, man. Like, just back off on some of it. There's enough ways that people can get hurt just through, regular moves.
Right.
But, yeah. Hopefully JD's doing all right and is going to recover fully and all of that, because God, that was scary.
Yeah.
Nothing like thinking you're watching somebody, like, get brain damage live on TV.
Ugh, yeah. I thought he was done. I was shocked that he even got up and was moving around and continued to participate in the match. Like, that's just insane.
I wonder if the lights were really on.
Yeah.
Could
be.
That's the lights are on, but nobody's home, that sort of thing.
My final jeer you've already covered, which is the Jey Uso Love Fest, as I call it. That was just, I mean, I had that. I kept hitting, like, 10-second advance on Netflix. And I'm just like, how long did this go on for? I mean, it had to have been like 2 or 3 minutes worth of just pure.
Oh, it was more than that.
It was insane.
They ran the entire song, and then afterwards they ran the entire song again.
Yeah,
like,
it never ended. So I was not thrilled with that. We already talked about McIntyre and the Wise Man. I think the Punk Road stuff at the end was good. I need to listen to it again. I was on the train and my AirPods don't mask the sound as well as I had hoped, when you have the noise canceling mode on. And so, and quite honestly, I think something's wrong with my AirPods, because, like, the sound is really soft when I connect to it on my phone. And so I couldn't get a sense of how the crowd was reacting to Rhodes and Punk. It wasn't terribly loud to me. So I don't know if that was a me thing or.
It didn't seem loud to me. I mean, I sped watched a little bit of the McIntyre Sami Zayn match, because, again, I was pressed for time.
Yeah.
I just saw the end.
Yeah. Match was fine. It was a good match. It told the story it needed to tell, but the payoff was when Cody came in to save, and then Zayn nails him with the kick. So
yeah. And I didn't fully watch his solo promo until before Punk came out. I'm just guessing he got more and more unhinged.
Yeah.
I thought the back and forth between him and between Punk and Rhodes was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the crowd wasn't necessarily, like, loud for it, but I feel like it was one of those things where they were listening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You didn't get a lot of, like, a distinct rumble of, people checking their phones and asking, hey, you going to the Falcons? How are those Falcons doing? Hey. That sort of thing. Like, it was, they were paying attention.
Yeah.
And I think that the two of them really kind of did really well with that promo building and just adding another layer to the Rumble match. So overall, I thought that would definitely have been a cheer from me.
Yeah.
Had I noted anything down.
Yeah, no, I put it as a cheer because I thought it was a great point, to have Punk put him on notice and just say, look, I'm coming for you. I'm telling you to your face.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is what you can expect. And I loved, Rhodes coming back with, maybe you won't be, maybe the best in the world will understand that he's no longer the best in the world, which I thought
was a really good line.
A really, really good line. And damn it, I was hoping she would surprise you. Can you see her or something like that?
Well, I don't have anything to read on my outline, so I just have this up, and I've got my little thing there in the corner, and it's 9:46 here in Maine, and you're watching Perspectives. So I knew this was coming, because if not, then she would be up too late. So, how is Kaylin's Comedy Corner for this episode? Is there any such thing as Kaylin's Comedy Corner, or are you just scarred from the movie earlier?
There's no comedy left anymore after you traumatized me and Mom
what
for
movie?
picking out that movie.
What movie?
I will discuss it in my and another thing.
Okay.
Well, I'll mention it now. The Wild Robot.
Oh, okay. Really?
Yeah, we watched that this evening, and I didn't know. I just saw it was 90. It's 97 or 98% fresh.
Oh,
on Rotten Tomatoes, and then it was rated 97 or 98% on Netflix. So I was like, oh well, I've heard good things, so let's watch this. It was an emotional roller coaster. I don't think any of us were prepared for.
Oh, really? Interesting.
I honestly had very low expectations going into the movie because it was advertised so much, and it was felt like one of those things that they're gonna put it everywhere, and it's gonna turn out to be a really mid movie. But I can't process it.
You can't unfeel the feels.
No.
Is it kind of like Iron Giant emotionally?
Would you say it's like Iron Giant?
Honestly, yeah, that one broke me when I was a kid. Why'd you let me watch that when I was a kid?
Oh, you have no idea the movies that scarred me as a child. I never made you watch The Never-Ending Story.
I watched Bridge to Terabithia when I was 7. Have you watched that movie?
I watched it with you.
That was trauma fuel.
Tell her
no kid should be allowed to watch that. That needs an age rating.
Tell her that movie also scarred me. Bridge to Terabithia. I watched that when I was in 4th or 5th grade. That one rocked me.
That scarred Tim as well.
Yep.
It's a cute little movie about two little kids who make a world out of their imagination. Spoiler, they die.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just go on throughout the movie like nothing ever happens. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So don't tell me about not traumatizing movies. Don't tell me about that. Okay.
We'll have another discussion about the 80s in a while.
Yeah, tell her about Buford T. Justice. What?
I don't need to try to have a conversation over here.
I just meant Smokey and the Bandit is all.
Would you stop?
All right.
Got one on you. All right, so I assume you're going to bed.
Yes. Did you tell Tim about my project that I'm doing?
No, we'll discuss that off air. Okay, go ahead and tell Tim what your project is.
So I am in a creative writing class right now, and why do you have that look on your face?
Who?
Because this is ammunition for Tim. I'm just.
Oh, then perfect. Give me the mic. So.
Oh dear. Oh jeez. Hello.
Excuse me. Okay, so I'm in a creative writing class right now, and you shush. And we're
Hello.
And we just started our second semester, and our current project right now is poetry. And our project that he just announced was a poet research project, which we have to choose a poet and we do research on their life, and then we analyze their poems and then write our own.
Nice.
And I went up to my teacher and I was like, hey, hypothetically, could I do someone I'm related to?
I see.
Is that allowed? And he said, yeah, totally. It's fine. Like, who's the person? Just out of curiosity. And I'm like, it's my dad.
Nice.
And yeah, jokes were made. I have lovely
Jokes
friends.
were made. I love how he's sitting in the background through all this. Oh dear. So you're going to do your project on your papa and his poetry.
Yes.
Very nice.
So
Very
I get
nice.
to analyze 2 of his poems. And I have to write probably 2 poems in his same writing style. So that should be interesting.
Oh, wow. Look on his face when you said that. He just did this head tilt that was just like, oh boy. Well, good luck to you on that. Very nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Okay, I don't know where you want me to go.
I got you. All right, so you're going to bed? Yes. Okay. What's that? Fun fact of the night. Fun. Oh.
Are you okay? Oh, jeez.
I'm going to be feeling that metal on enamel for like the next year and a half.
Did you just
Okay,
JD
fun fact.
McDonough your mouth?
Gramps.
Oh, gosh. What'd she say?
Fun fact of the night, I found out that one of the K-pop idols that is in one of the groups that I know, he is one, if not probably one of the biggest Star Wars fans
Oh,
that I've ever.
nice.
And I'm not joking. I was like, oh, he's probably not a big Star Wars fan. He's a big Star Wars fan. He has
Very nice.
all of the Star Wars Lego sets. Every single one. I am not joking.
Very cool.
Bro doesn't even fully speak English, and he already knows like lines. He has his own lightsabers. He was on a live the other day, and he had like 2 lightsabers.
Wow.
Well, you make all that money, you got to spend it on something.
But it's just crazy. And these people still get like wide-eyed at like restaurant menus. I'm like, bro, you're billionaires. Why are you acting? You know you're rich. Stop pretending.
All right. On that note,
Nice.
that ends Kaylin's emo corner. I don't know
no,
what
I
we want
think
to
that
call
was-
this.
that was more
Oh,
of
the look I just got.
No,
jeez.
Kaylin's Arts Corner is what it was.
Kaylin's Arts Corner?
Yeah.
What? You got very emo.
Really?
You did. You got very
No,
emo.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Okay, how did I get emo?
You were talking about how you were scarred.
Yeah, that's a normal thing to talk about.
Yeah, true. All right.
Don't get me started.
Time for you to go to bed, and I'm going to scar Tim.
I got to tell you. Oh.
If I'm emo, you're emo too. Okay?
I'm not arguing that.
You're goth.
Oh, I'm goth.
Yeah, you're goth if I'm emo.
I don't know if I qualify you as goth. Maybe,
We have completely lost control of the show now,
I think
sir.
so. Yeah.
All right. Good night. Love you. Sweet dreams. I feel like my tooth might be hanging out.
I was going to say, did you hear what I said? You JD McDonough your mouth?
I think I did.
So, by the way, you sitting in the background while she's talking to me, and like when she said, I don't know, she said something and just kind of did this head tilt. I mean, the comedic timing here was just phenomenal. I'm just like,
I can't wait to watch it back, but oh my
good stuff.
gosh.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. She's going to do a little
It is-
deep dive into Papa's poetry, and
It is very cool.
Yeah.
I'm very honored. It's a little frightening.
Hey,
Because, like I told her, it's like, you're going to ask me what something means, but your guess is as good as mine. I'm not really sure. But, hopefully I'll have something to say. So
Yes.
we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Very
Hopefully she doesn't get an F on it. It's all my fault.
I think it'll be wonderful. Be wonderful.
Sorry, your dad is terribly uninteresting and not very good at this whole writing thing.
So look, I'm
Oh.
going to call the authorities. Because after reading your paper,
We're
your,
getting you removed from your home.
your father needs to be committed.
There's no argument there.
Oh.
All right. So that is the end of the undercard. Let me see. What can we do here?
Good Lord.
Oh,
We are at the main event, sir.
He's the rat!
That's
well,
right.
we're not at the main event yet because I need to go use the facilities.
All right.
So we're gonna call a 30-second timeout. We'll be back directly.
A few moments later.
All right, here we are back for the main event. So we have the card, I believe, which has not significantly changed.
I do not believe so.
So we only have 4 matches for the Royal Rumble coming up this weekend in beautiful downtown Indianapolis.
I've been to Indianapolis. It is quite a downtown there. They have some very good restaurants. Oh yeah.
The only thing I've seen from Indianapolis, I think, is watching the Good Bones show on HGTV, because my wife was kind of into that for a while, and it just seemed like there was all the pictures of like that canal that runs down there. That was like every other like B-roll shot was the canal. I'm like, okay, I've get it. You've got water. Anything else? Anything else?
And for the record, if I may. The man they called him has actually trod upon the soil of Lucas Oil Stadium field.
Did you take a pee on it? I mean,
I did not. I was in the middle.
Fan, that's what you should have done.
I was in the middle of helping my eldest marching band. I was one of the parents who was a prop mover and setter-upper, and so I had to haul my out-of-shape rear end out onto the field to get some props set up and then get myself out of there before there's actually a time limit we had to do all of this. But I was taken aback, had a pause for a moment and recognized that I was running on the field that both Manning and Brady had waged war upon, and so it was
mostly Brady.
Quite an event. But this is where the Royal Rumble will be. It'll be in Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yep, and so we've got, of course, the men's and the women's Royal Rumble matches. And then we also have, oddly enough, a tag championship match being defended in a 2 out of 3 falls sort of affair.
Which I'm excited for, because I like 2 out of 3 falls.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting. These two teams ought to be a really good match. And it's been a while since we've had like what I felt is a real quality tag team championship defense on a PLE that kind of felt like it meant anything.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the undisputed WWE Championship ladder match. So we got 4 here. We will run through these. Let's start off with the tag match. So here we have DIY defending against Motor City Machine Guns. DIY, of course, being Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano.
Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, yes.
And Motor City Machine Guns being those 2 guys that I don't know.
Chris Sabin and I'm trying to think who the other guy was.
Him.
No. Hold on a second.
What's his name? What's his name there? With the
Alex Shelley.
Now is Shelley there the one with the funny ring gear? With like the shorts that have like the slit up the side, so it's almost like it's kind of like a half kilt, half. It's like a skirts sort of situation.
Let me look.
Anyways, not that it matters. The first time I saw that, I'm like, the hell's going on here? It just struck me as odd.
See, whenever I've seen them, they both have like normal pants on, so I'm not quite sure what you're referring to.
Huh, maybe I'm just hallucinating again. I don't know.
Let me see.
That damn medication isn't doing its job.
Yeah.
I should probably get it from someone besides that guy in that van.
So Alex Shelley is the one whose hair is kind of thrown over to one side.
All right, I don't know their hairstyles.
All right, well,
I'll try and pay attention.
Glad you watched the product that you're going to make a pick on.
Well, you know what? I've seen him before. Anyways, so who do you think is going to take it in this one? Do you think DIY will be victorious and hang on to the belts, or is Motor City Machine Guns going to win them back? Because they did win them the first night they were in the company, didn't they?
Now, are we picking winners and star ratings, or just picking winners?
And
do we have any
star ratings? I mean, I guess we could, but I mean the Rumble matches are kind of hard to do star ratings on. I feel, but we can.
Fair. No,
I think we did last year, actually.
Well, yeah, let's go for it. So my pick is going to be Motor City Machine Guns.
Okay.
And
any particular reason why?
Because
like storyline wise, or just wishing and hoping.
I'm going to put MCMG here, and I'm going to say I think this is going to be a 4.0 star match.
Whoa, setting the
because these two teams know how to go. And I think it's going to be, a showcase. Much like you were talking about, we haven't seen a tag team championship match on a PLE in quite some time, and I'm excited to see what these two teams are going to do. They're both DIY has done amazing work both together and against each other. I have high hopes for this, but I do think the Machine Guns are going to come out of this as two-time tag team champions.
I'm going to agree with it. I think Motor City Machine Guns is going to take it back. DIY has held on to the belts long enough. I think there was a reason why they had these guys win the belts, right off the bat, like first night in the promotion, and they win the belts.
Yep.
That is not like a by accident sort of thing. Unless it was, and then that'd be really funny. I'm going to go 3 3/4 stars on this. I can't quite go 4. I'm hoping that I'll be surprised. But as you know, I only know very little about Motor City Machine Guns and DIY. I think they're both great workers. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good one.
Are there any stakes? Anything on the line here?
I don't know, because now it's like it is impossible for us. This isn't like this is like the one good thing during COVID was the fact that you could ship liquor anywhere, hither and yon, and people were delivering it.
Eastbound
and now it's like the last time I delivered a bottle, it was almost the same amount to get it delivered as it was the bottle.
Oh my gosh! Wow,
it was stupid. And you can't ship anything to Maine because I don't know what it is, like the old puritanical whatever. So you can't do that. I don't know what we'll have to figure something out, because we should still have some stakes, but it's just not working the way it used to, and it's not as fun just like, hey, just Venmo me this but it's not that, it's just not fun that way. Yeah. So we gotta be thinking a little bit more about that.
All right. Maybe we need to spring for a $500 championship belt or something like that.
Maybe what we can do is we'll set this up so there's like standings.
Because we're starting a new year.
Throughout the year, and then at the end of the year, we have some type of
championship.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay.
That's just my thought. We'll workshop it. We'll workshop
I like
it.
that idea.
All right. What do you say? Let's go the women's Royal Rumble match next. Even though I'm tempted to go men's Royal Rumble and kind of build, because I have been a favorite of the women's Rumble, I think like 3 years in a row now.
Yeah.
As opposed to the men's match. But what the hell? Let's go with the ladies next.
All right. So
let's see here. We've got I don't think anyone else declared officially. So right now it's showing as Nia Jax, Bayley, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair. Wait, Charlotte Flair declared? Did she?
She did, yes.
Was she back on SmackDown and I missed it?
They did a vignette with her.
Okay. So we got Flair, we got Bianca Belair, Naomi, Liv Morgan, and then 24 more TBA.
Yeah.
I think that covers just about everybody. And so we're going to pick our top 3 possible winners, I think, because it's really hard to pick 1 out of 30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
still seem like a fair idea to you, sir?
It does, but I'm a little surprised by the, I looked up the, this is posted January 27th, so yesterday, and they're only listing 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 names for women.
So there's definitely more here than what we got. Read them off, and I'll see.
Bayley, Nia Jax, Charlotte Flair, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Liv Morgan.
And then Lyra Valkyrie declare. So, but go with yours.
So Io Sky.
Yep.
Ivy Nile.
Okay.
She's the gal that's running with Chad Gable.
Yeah.
Lyra Valkyra. That's it.
Okay. So then 21 more TBA. Ivy Nile to me is, I feel like she's, then again, there's a lot of the ladies who have been kind of underutilized, and I wonder if some of it is a little bit what we've talked about before, where it feels like a bit more of a gap in terms of stature.
Yeah.
Between the more diminutive ladies on the ladies roster, and the Charlotte Flairs, the Bianca Belairs, the Rhea Ripley's, Nia Jax's. I mean, and then there's a big gap, and then you get into like Ivy Nile, Io Sky, and there is a significant difference, and it becomes almost like watching Rey Mysterio against anybody, where you're expecting them to hit like the second rope instead of the top rope.
Yeah,
you know. Yeah. So it doesn't surprise me that there hasn't been a huge build up for any of this, but I feel like Ivy Nile has been kind of underused. That's the point I was going for.
Yeah.
So all right. So you're putting your 3 in place here. You want to go with your 3, or you want me to shoot my 3 off the top here, top of my head?
Why don't you go ahead and shoot your 3? Because I'm still kind of contemplating over here. So.
All right. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go Flair, Jax. Unfortunately. Gosh, I want to say Bianca, but I don't. She's knee deep in her tag, so that kind of takes her.
Bianca and Naomi are off the table because whenever what's her name? God. Jade. Thank you. All I could think of was Jace, and I'm like, that's not her name. It's something else.
No.
There's something brewing there between them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Flair, Jax, and so our 2 champions are Tiffany Stratton.
Mm-hmm.
And Mommy, Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm. I kind of want to say Bailey, but I feel like they've got to save some, because they're going to have a women's elimination chamber match too, right? So I feel like there is a way that you don't have to have, because didn't she win last year?
She did.
I don't know they want to have her back to back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I feel like but I really feel like this is a great way for Flair to come back.
Yeah, I think Flair's going to win it. I 100% think Flair's going to win it.
So
I don't think Ivy Nile is going to win it. I just don't. And Lyra Valkyria is not going to win it because she's the IC champion.
Yeah. If anything, I'm going to go Liv just as a dark horse, even though I feel like they're kind of really trying to get her and Raquel Rodriguez, as a tag, and they're trying to keep Liv out of the main event scene for a little while. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
All right.
Who do you got for your 3 here?
So my 3 are going to be Flair, Bailey, and Jax. That's what I'm going. Oh, actually, you know what? Hold on a second. I'm going to pull one of those out. Actually, I'm going to stay with Jax. Jordynne Grace has signed with WWE. She was the TNA champion last year that appeared in a number 10 slot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put her down just as kind of a dark horse to win it, because she would be very compelling to go up against Tiffany Stratton or Rhea Ripley.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I fully expect Flair to take it, but I'm going to put Jordynne Grace on there because I think she's going to have more of a definitive showing now that she's in the company. She had a very good showing last year. Don't get me wrong. Like they did a phenomenal job as someone coming from a totally different organization.
She got a couple of eliminations, didn't she?
She did. She got a couple eliminations. She looked really good. I mean, they
made her look strong.
To me, that was one of the defining moments of the Triple H era, because this never in a million years would have happened under Vince. Vince doesn't put anyone over that is not from his company or his own creation. And
well, I mean, they would
bring wonderful to see that.
Other people, but it was always like, out of desperation, and those folks really didn't amount to much.
No,
they wouldn't get a showcase spot really.
Yeah.
And they really did. They featured her.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really impressive what they did with her. That's going to be my list.
I think it's a good list. Yeah. I think Jordynne Grace, but I don't know that it's her time. You know what I mean? I feel like it would be good to bring her in, and I don't know whether she goes to NXT and they let her wreak havoc there for a little while, or if she, they catapult her right up and all of a sudden she's competing for the IC or the US Championship belt. I think she's going to come in and she'll do some damage.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're really going to, I can't see them putting her over, but who knows? Oh yeah, stars.
I'm going with 3.5. I think this will be good, but I don't know. Some of the women's matches lately, they've been a little clunky. I'm just not sure this is going to live up.
I'm going to go 3 3/4.
You're really big on that 3/4, aren't you?
It's just the first two.
All right.
I'm kind of feeling like both of them I'm undershooting a little bit. I'm trying to temper my expectations a little bit. That's just where I'm going.
Oh, by the way, going back to the tag match, do you want to do a guess on what the the sequence will be? Will it be Motor City Machine Guns 2 wins to 0? Will it be Motor City Machine Guns 2 wins to 1?
It's 2 to 1. That's how it's going to. They're going to, because the thing is, like, there's a good reason I think they're starting this thing at what is it, 6?
Yes,
6 p.m.
5 my time.
This is going to be a 4-hour easy. I think both of Rumble matches are going to be over an hour.
Yeah.
And then I think both of these other matches are going to be 40-ish minutes.
Okay.
I don't think there's going to be very much fat to this program. We're not going to get vignettes and stuff like that. I think both of the the non-Rumble matches are going to get plenty of time. So I don't think it's going to be a rush. I think it's going to be two falls to one.
Okay.
All
right.
For drama's sake.
Sounds good.
I'm good with that. I think it's going to be a good match.
Do you want to do the ladder match and then the men's?
Nah, I mean, because the ladder match has got to be the main event, right?
Yeah,
gotta be. I mean, because we haven't.
Well, I don't know. It could be the Rumble.
Yeah, but I feel like that having the Rumble and then the ladder match adds a little bit to the ladder match. Because then it's what's awaiting Cody. Anyways, I say we go with the Rumble.
All right,
men's Rumble match. All right, so here we have a whole lot of intrigue and more, a couple more announced than the ladies. We've got John Cena, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, Logan Paul, and 19 others to be announced, unless I missed a couple from last night.
Penta's in there. Do you have Penta?
I don't. So Penta and 18 more to be announced.
Let me add Penta in there. Hold on. So we have Penta. Someone else declared. You have Logan Paul, right?
Yes.
No, you don't. Where is he?
Yeah, he's right. He's
right.
There before he is. Penta that you just added.
Jey Uso, you got so 18 more. Okay, there we go.
Oh, wait a minute. We before we do that, your surprise returns for the ladies' Rumble.
Are we doing multiple or are we doing one?
I mean, just any that you feel might not have been already hinted at. I mean, for instance, like there was a report on WrestleMania that Michelle McCool has been heavily rumored to make a comeback, and it's like, okay, well, that's already been kind of announced.
Yeah,
I think for me, I've got Alexa Bliss and Jade Cargill, just because Alexa has been in the news a bunch off and on for months now.
Yeah.
I think this would be the perfect place to bring her back, because it seems like there was disagreements on her contract status and all that, and if you're gonna kind of launch, this is a great place to do it. I don't know what Jade Cargill's physical status is, but this would be a great way to kind of bring her back as a surprise.
Okay, so the two I'm going to go with, one you'll be familiar with, one you might not be, is Trish Stratus. And so can I go for 3 or just 2?
As many as you think would be interesting.
So I'm going to think Lita.
Yeah, that one, I almost said that, but I feel like that's almost a given. You know what I mean? Like,
but we don't know.
No, you're right. You're right. Yep.
The one that's going to be kind of
you round this out with Sable.
No. Oh, Sable would be a good one. But I'm going to round this out with a name that you may or may not be familiar with.
Okay.
Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, she was on TNA, not AEW, right?
Right, but WWE has a relationship with TNA.
Yes, and is she Tully Blanchard's daughter?
She is Tully Blanchard's daughter.
Okay.
She has unfortunately had some controversy around her.
Oh, boy.
To the tune of when she made a return after a 4-year exile to TNA. I think it was 4 years. Most recently, she wrestled Jordynne Grace and defeated her. As kind of a passing.
So is it Jordynne or is it Jordan?
I thought it was Jordynne.
Okay,
but I could be wrong.
Okay,
but
works for me.
She during the match, though, because of the controversy around here, because basically she was accused of making not so great remarks about people of other races, that the crowd started chanting, "You're a racist," during the match. So I don't know if they're I don't know if Triple H wants to chance that one or not, but so I'm going to go with two from TNA Impact, one being Tessa Blanchard. I don't know why balloons are flying up in my screen here.
Your peace signed it, man.
One being Tessa Blanchard, and the second one being Rosemary, who has been kind of a horror-esque kind of character for a long time with TNA Impact.
I think I've heard something about her.
Yeah.
In like a WrestleMania thing or something. Okay, cool.
So I'm just going with that. I mean, there could be some other women from TNA. I'm not as up to date with the roster, but Tessa would be interesting. I think she'd definitely get a reaction. And I think Rosemary from TNA is well known enough, that I think she would also get a reaction from the crowd.
All right, fair enough.
And that is to go with. So I'm basically going with two that are legends of WWE. Trish Stratus and Lita will be the two legends, and then Rosemary and Tessa.
All right, I could see that.
All right. Which one we do next? Rumble or the ladder match?
Let's go with men's Rumble match.
All right.
So who do you got here? Or do you want me to go first again? And just
No, I'll go first for this one. So the thing I'm torn on is I think my top two, and I'm just struggling with what number one could be, because there have been rumors of a Punk Reigns potential WrestleMania main event match at one of the two nights here. So it is a struggle for me to definitively pick one over the other, but I'm going to go at least for the top two. I'm going to say John Cena. Mainly because I'm wondering if this is how he gets a title shot at Cody. I think CM Punk is the other one, because I could see an ending where it's Reigns versus Punk as the last two men, and as I mentioned, a Heyman divided against himself shall not stand, and so we will see if the wise man cashes in on the favor that he owes Mr. Punk or not. And then the last one's kind of interesting. If it's not Cena or Punk, who could it be? It could be Roman. It could be Roman. But it also could be, I mean, this is a stacked field. It could be it could be Rollins. It could be McIntyre. It could be Zayn.
Yeah.
Don't think it'll be Logan Paul. I think Logan Paul will have, a high spot of the night. But I don't think McIntyre's winning. Rollins, maybe Rollins, to challenge Gunther, but there's still, like you mentioned, there's still Elimination Chamber. So this isn't the be all end all, when it comes to, if some of these folks will be in or out. So those are my thoughts. What say you, sir?
I'm going to go, my top pick is CM Punk.
Okay.
After that, I'm going to go Roman Reigns.
Okay.
And then I am going to go. Gosh, I'm almost saying Jey Uso.
Wow.
But I'm not going to. I just refuse. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn as a dark horse.
Ooh, very nice.
And I wonder if we are in the machinations of a Sami Zayn heel turn.
I think we are.
But then again, I also wonder if we're in the machinations of a Cody Rhodes heel turn at this point. Like, are we seeing the early signs of that?
Yes.
Now,
I assume the scoring we're going to do here is the higher up the name, the more weight it carries. Correct?
Yeah. Oh wait, you changed.
I changed myself. I did a defensive strategy here. I went Punk first. You had me rethink that one.
Well, no, I went. I'm looking up at the ladies' match. Did you have Jax in yours?
I did.
Or did you swap her out? Because I thought you had Bailey.
I did have Bailey, and then I swapped her out.
Oh, for Grace. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I actually don't think Cena's going to win the Rumble.
Okay. You think he's going to have the long, hard road?
I hope so, because I think that there's way too much stuff happening at WrestleMania. I think you can have anything happen for Cena at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I'm really still hoping for the scenario I laid out where he essentially gets the title at the last PLE of the year and retires as champ, and then vacates, and then we get a scramble for the title that would then set up like the first quarter of next year. I still think that's a great way to go. But then again, nobody asked me. Although, Paul, give me a call, yo. I'm going to go with this at a 3.25 star.
Okay.
Because I have been underwhelmed by the men's Rumble matches over the last several years. So I'm going to aim low on this one and hope and pray that I'm pleasantly surprised.
I'm going to go with 4-0.
Oof, you are setting yourself up for heartache, sir.
This is a stacked lineup, my friend. This is different this year.
I don't know.
I'm going to go with 4-0 on this one, baby.
We'll see. All right, surprise returns. You've already filled yours out.
So this is
I don't recognize this first guy. Didn't he used to play like second string for like the Bills or something?
Let me just make sure I have the name right. No, he Josh Alexander. He's a Canadian professional wrestler. Kind of wears the headgear like Rick Steiner used to wear, and is just kind of a athletic, sort of classic wrestler sort of character. He actually, I think his TNA contract just ran out, so he's a free agent. So wondering if he might show up. I believe in Joe Hendry.
That is like just ducks shooting a duck in a barrel, dude. Like that is gonna happen.
I know.
That is going to happen.
And I'm leaning into the TNA stuff a little bit more because of the partnership that the two companies have, that we might see maybe, a few more TNA guys sprinkled in there. So I have Moose, who is another champion from that company. And then the Hardy Boys would be an interesting one.
So they've been doing spots for TNA, right?
They have, yes.
Because they're, and from what I understand, they're not actually under a contract. Like it's a per appearance sort of thing with them.
I think so. Oh, speaking of which,
that is the thing is, I would love for them to not appear here. I would love to see some sort of tag team scramble.
Okay.
And for them to appear at that.
Okay.
I don't want to see like Jeff I want to see them come out together.
Yeah. I threw RVD in there as well because he seems good for a paycheck. So
yeah, but I just don't want to watch the dude hurt himself. Like he's old, dude. He's old.
I know.
And he's high mileage, dude. He's like a freaking Toyota Corolla that's been at Enterprise for 10 years, like and ridden hard and put away wet.
Rob is in good shape, but he is showing a little bit of the pouch.
Okay,
so.
He's in good shape for a stoner. I mean, he's in good shape for someone who's high 20 hours a day.
If you will.
And who's fighting off the munchies all the time.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
He's in great shape. Is he in ring shape? I mean, he probably won't feel anything.
I know.
Anyways, I'm gonna go. I've got two here. Well, two-ish. Malachi Black.
Malachi?
I don't know how to spell Malachi. All right.
I think it's with a K, my friend.
Get off my ass. I'm usually good at spelling and not good at math. This is my one slip up, all right? I didn't Google it. I just
Ladies and gentlemen, we have learned Uncle Todd has turned over a new leaf. He can't spell worth a damn, but boy, can he do the math.
F it, we're doing it live.
Oh, that's awesome.
The other pairing would be Pat McAfee and Corey Graves. Because
that's interesting.
And I actually I saw this somewhere. I wish I could credit whoever it was. But of course the Pat McAfee, the Corey Graves sort of drama where he was taken off the main roster kind of announced teams, which I don't understand why. I always thought he was really good.
I did too. I don't understand what they're doing. I think Joe Tessitore threw a wrench in everything. They brought him into, I don't know, sound like more of a sports sort of announcer or something like that. It's weird.
But the fact that the idea kind of being that like Pat McAfee kind of took his spot in some way.
Yeah.
And then you have, then he's back on NXT, and he had this whole, before he was back on NXT, then he had this little manifesto that he put on social media. So there's people are like, is there heat, or is it, is it a work? Is it a shoot? And then the idea of like, did McAfee really want to retire? Does he have another match? I mean, would this be a way that he could get back in the ring and, it be kind of a situation where he doesn't have to do a ton? I don't know. It could be interesting, but that's all depending on whether or not it's actually a work or a shoot, or if they're working themselves into a shoot.
Yeah.
Who knows? You just added a whole bunch of others. Oh, Randy Orton. How the frack did I forget that?
Aha!
This would be the perfect place.
You can add them. That's fine.
This would be the perfect place to hear voices in your head.
I also added Bad News Barrett, Wade Barrett. There's been some rumblings that he might be in for a little bit of a comeback.
Who was it that he was buddies with, that he was reading the riot act to while he was
Drew McIntyre.
Oh, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah. Yep.
The only thing is, like, I feel like the women's rumble is definitely more for the surprises. I feel like the men's rumble right now, especially where they have their roster, is pretty stacked.
Yeah.
I mean, just you're looking at whoever's declared here and filling 18 more spots, pretty easy with the roster they have. I mean,
screw it.
You go with Gable, you go with, the Otises and all, because you need to have some guys in there who are just going to be, just guys. You only have so many surprise spots. Bad Bunny.
That's
oh my
right.
gosh.
That's right.
Yeah, it is about time for him to come out.
Are we awarding any points if we get any
The
of these
Rock?
right? That's
Are
right.
you serious?
I went with the People's Champion.
You're just throwing absolute every bit of poop at the wall that you can.
That's 100%.
That's it. You are shut off. No more bourbon for you.
Come on, I haven't had that much. What are you talking about?
I know, but you've had enough, obviously.
Which one of us isn't spelling correctly?
You're like a drunken sailor with a fistful of 50s walking into a house of ill repute. Hey!
Yahtzee!
I don't know if that's what they're shouting, but hey, you never know. There's a board game aficionado. Hey, I'm not here to kink shame.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, God. Where are we going?
I don't know. Where are we going? Where are you going? Don't lump me into your activities of ill repute.
Sir, I do declare.
Oh, here we go.
I do declare you are impeaching and besmirching my reputation, sir, if you will. All right. Well, you know what? We'll talk about this after the show, about what we might do with the side bets here.
Okay. I need some stakes here. I need,
like, you're right. You do need steaks. It's been about 5 hours since you had a flank steak.
Tonight, I had this wonderful pork and Brussels sprout. It was in this
of course you did,
sauce. It was like soy and.
Where did you have this?
At home. My lovely wife made this dish for me. It was over cauliflowered rice.
Now wait a minute. Your wife is a vegetarian, isn't she?
She will prepare meat for me though. She is a vegetarian.
Man. That woman's a saint.
I was just going to say, she is a saint.
Putting up with all your guff and cooking meat when she's a vegetarian.
But it wasn't soy sauce, but it's like this amino-based sauce that's kind of like soy. It tastes like soy sauce. Oh, yeah. It's good stuff. And mixed it with sriracha. And, oh, my gosh, it was phenomenal. So no steaks for the man they call Tim, just some pork sausage and Brussels sprouts mixed in with a tasty sauce over cauliflower rice. It's good stuff. What? Or is it riced cauliflower? I don't know. Either way.
I'm calling a 30-second timeout. I need another beverage for this.
Oh, dear.
12 seconds later.
Oh, really wishing I built a fire.
And last week it's like, dear God, I'm dying here.
Oh, I didn't. I waited too long tonight, and then I'm still thinking I should have fired it up. All right. Well,
one more match.
We're back.
One more match. All right.
Oh, there we go. The problem was that sober was nipping at my heels.
Okay.
I can't deal with your shenanigans in that way.
No.
All right, so here we are at the main event of our main event.
Yes.
At least what we think is going to be the main event. I think it's going to be.
I think it's going to be the men's rumble. I think it's this match will be probably before the men's rumble.
Well, maybe.
It'll be the palate cleanser in between the women's and the men's. Actually, no. Women's rumble is probably going to go first.
Okay. Yeah, actually, traditionally that has been the opener, hasn't it?
It has.
All right. So the undisputed WWE Championship ladder match, Cody Rhodes defends against Kevin Owens. Wow. This ought to be interesting because Kevin Owens has displayed a delightful lack of respect for his own body.
Yes.
And Cody rises to the moment, it seems, in a lot of these matches.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're putting the stars down. You don't even have your winner. Okay.
I know who I want to put as the winner. I just don't want to influence you yet. I want to let you.
No, I'll let you go first because you seem like you're boned up on this thing. So
no, I put 4.5 stars. I think this is going to be the show stealer of the night. I think this is going to be just knowing how Cody is in these main event matches, and to what you were just saying, that how Owens fights with reckless abandon, and it's a ladder match. I think the two of them are going to do some pretty crazy stuff. I think it's going to be a really impressive match. But at the end of the day, as much as he is a son of a satellite installer, I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes who is going to
like a security technician or
something. I was trying to tell my dad that, I let my dad know Saturday Night's Main Event was on, and so he was watching it and texting me because he remembers
Was he in the wrestling?
He was the one that got me into wrestling.
Really?
He was watching. It was so funny. Like I remember when we get home from church on Sunday, it'd be like high noon. And he would put on what he called big time, like this was his verbiage, big time wrestling, which was really All American Wrestling on USA.
Okay.
And then there was primetime wrestling on Monday night, which was like we that was the thing we always did together, like every Monday night.
Primetime was a talk show, essentially.
Primetime was Monsoon and Heenan.
Yeah, but it was almost like a talk show format.
Yeah, like they
before
would
they did the
they would do
didn't
skits.
They do like another thing on Tuesday where it was like.
Well, Vince did. It was a very much like a Tonight Show kind of show called Tuesday Night Titans. And that was during their heyday in like 84, 85.
Okay.
And then, but primetime wrestling was more of almost like kind of a taped, a show of taped matches. So these are like, I don't want to call them house show matches, but they weren't like, they were recorded, but I don't know that when they were wrestling there, it was meant for television. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I remember it was different from the clip shows, at least on the weekend, because it had a significant amount of interaction between Monsoon and Heenan.
Yes, yeah,
and also they'd have guests and stuff like that. But it was a lot more centered on it was the Gorilla and Brain show.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was 2 hours of them, and it was incredible.
Oh my god!
It was so good, and it's what created that Monsoon. It not created, but cultivated that Monsoon Heenan dynamic, and I mean, just so much good stuff. I mean, it's where Ric Flair first appeared. They had him appear first on, I think it was on Primetime Wrestling. With Heenan, just basically almost like, keeling over from a heart attack as, Ric Flair was in the house. They actually ran some storylines through Primetime Wrestling as well.
Yeah.
Mr. Perfect turning babyface was largely done on Primetime Wrestling when they expanded into 4 hosts at one point. They had Monsoon, Heenan, Perfect, and there was one other person. I can't think of who it was. But yeah, no, it was such a great show. But
yeah,
I don't know how we got onto that thread, but
well, no, your dad got you into the wrestling.
Yes, so he recognized, of course, Jesse Ventura. He was really he texted me after the Jacob Fatu match. He's like, that guy's an animal. Like, yeah, a little bit. And he remembered Shawn Michaels and watched the contract signing. I think he first started watching it when the Breaker Sheamus match was going on, And so,
good one to start with.
What's that?
Good one to start
yeah,
with.
Yeah, it was a good one to start with. And so, even though he didn't have the background of like the Cody Kevin, storyline, he appreciated that segment. He's like, oh, those guys are pretty intense. I'm like, they said, yeah, one of them's Dusty Rhodes' son. The other one is a son of and then I screwed up whatever it was. I said satellite delivery man or something like that.
It was like security camera.
It was something funny, but anyways.
It was great.
So,
and that's the thing, like Kevin Owens is one of those dudes who he's like a little bit like CM Punk. Like he's very much into like kind of the history.
Yes.
But his t-shirt game is impeccable.
Oh yeah.
It is it's either like something that is so classic that you're like, okay, did you pay like $80 on eBay for that and you're wearing it to the fracking ring?
Yep.
Or did you get a recreation? Or the ones where it's like it's manipulated and you're like, oh, that's so good. That's so freaking good.
Yeah.
Like I sincerely hope it's him coming up with it and he doesn't have like a t-shirt guy. I'm hoping that it's him.
Yes. Yeah. So that's my pick, Cody Rhodes, 4.5-star match. What is your selection, sir?
Part of me wants to see a title change between now and WrestleMania.
Okay.
Because it gives us the chance to have it change back.
Okay.
Because everything is geared around Cody, and it makes me start wondering, like, are they screwing with us? Are we getting set up for a swerve? Because it's so heavy into, I'm going to go after Cody. I'm going to go after Cody. Like Roman is going after Cody's championship. Now Punk is going after Cody's championship. This and that and the other. Everything is going through that. And the only kind of mention of Gunther is by Seth.
Mm.
And to me, that's like, dude, that match is there whenever you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that doesn't need the Rumble. Not even close. And even that is peripherally still involved with Cody and McIntyre and all that, like, and Punk and all that. So it's like, that was like a little bit of a, well, we have to, somebody has to give Gunther a little bit of love. I kind of want to see Cody lose the belt for a little while and then gain it back, maybe like, not at a, maybe at Elimination Chamber. Something happened there. Or better yet, like if we're going to get another Saturday Night's Main Event before WrestleMania, like, damn, wouldn't that be kind of a thing? Because we've gone through another Saturday Night's Main Event and, ain't nothing happened, which, I mean, we didn't expect. I don't know. We did see the first title IC, Intercontinental Championship defense in 30 years or whatever it was, which I was like, that's an odd stat, but cool. But at the same time, I do not see them taking the belt off of Cody.
So after all that, it's Cody?
That's the thing. Like, I just don't see it because I can also see the path of like the
teasing me
further descent into madness. If this is the way they're going, like that. But then again, that also works if you lose the championship, doesn't it?
Yeah, I will say,
Lord, I'm freaking Fazzini in the Princess Bride like now.
I will say,
I couldn't choose the.
Cody looked
in front of you.
Cody looked worn out during that. Like I loved how he played that, where he just looked like burned out, and
he
played
up in,
right into like
jacket
Punk's,
instead of a suit.
Yeah, played right into Punk's monologue about when he was champion and stuff. So.
Mm-hmm.
I just love how you just took us on this like 5-minute journey to just come back to the fact that it's going to be Cody. I love it. I absolutely love it.
You know what?
Uh-oh.
I'm going to go KO.
Oh, he's going to do it. He's going to pull the trigger, ladies and gentlemen.
Pull the trigger on that one.
I love it.
Screw it. You mistyped because you were so excited.
I was so excited. What's the star rating on that? Is Kevin going to put 5-0 up or what?
You're mashing the keys like back when we were playing Sega Genesis. I'm going to go with 4 stars. I'm going to undershoot this one because I don't want to shoot too high to a 5-star because I'd like both of these guys to be able to walk afterwards and to like play with their kids and stuff. I feel like a 5-star match and a ladder match is a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, you know what? Screw it. Everything else has been so similar.
Yeah.
Let's live dangerously.
That's true. Yeah, most of our picks are like right on the money. Jeez,
Yeah.
we're not very interesting.
No.
I am going to say for the side bets, you can tell me if you want it, but let's say a +1 for every correct pick.
Well, we're going to have to decide on a scoring system and all that. So we'll figure that out. We'll workshop those ideas. I'm not opposed to it.
All right. All right. Well, that wraps up our main event. We have our picks locked, loaded, and this Saturday we will find out if Uncle Todd, his 5-minute odyssey to describe the Kevin Owens pick, will it come to fruition, or will he be humbled?
Oh my!
Okay, that was not what I was expecting you to hit when I said humbled. Make you humble.
It's right there.
It is right
Make
there.
him humble.
Thank you, Cheeky and Sulu. Sulu is always, any occasion, just play that. It just works,
Oh my!
Yes, that is the fact, ladies and gentlemen. Our picks are oh my god.
All right, sir. So what do you have for and another thing? This is a recommendation for our listeners / viewers. What do you recommend to them as you swill your bourbon?
My recommendation is from the Peacock. It is SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night. It is a 4-episode documentary. But what's interesting is it is 4 episodes that are focused on different facets of the show.
I was going to ask if this was the because I saw a thing for the music one.
This is not the music one. The music one is separate, and I'm waiting.
It's completely separate.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one to pop in. Actually, let me just check right now, real quick, just to make sure. I just want to make sure.
I thought you were going to pop your bottle of bourbon.
No.
Well, let me.
Let me pull it up. So, first episode, I'll talk through this while I'm pulling it up.
Excuse me while I whip this out.
First episode was. Sorry, I thought it was going to be. There it is. Yeah, it's only 4 episodes. So I think the music one's separate. So
Okay,
first
good.
episode is auditions, and it's all about the audition, process, and shows,
that's
footage
cool.
of some, some of the more popular talent who, auditioned and what they went through, and them kind of recalling, that. And it's cool because, for some of them, it's an emotional thing. They didn't, know if they were going to make it or not. They didn't know probably at the time if they were going to last very long on the show. And so it kind of reminds you of even though they make it look easy, how difficult, the process really is. And
yeah.
and it was super
The entire
interesting.
thing is insanely difficult.
Yeah. The second one is really cool. It's called More Cowbell. And I didn't realize this, but the cowbell sketch, I think by and large, is considered one of the most popular, like best sketches like on the show, because and I think it's because of how pervasive it is in the culture, that so many people connect with it. And it is just this touchstone for not just the generation that saw it when it aired, but even now this generation, that is coming up. So.
Yeah, that is the difference maker, because there's been a lot of sketches that are iconic.
Yeah.
But do they carry over like a couple generations down? And that's where we're at now. Like we're way past like this being a new thing, and even being, it's even gone past where it's retro. Now it's like whatever's beyond retro.
Right.
Which means that, again, we're old.
Yes, we're old rigs. The third one, we have a couple minutes left on it. We ended up not finishing it because we ended up switching over to watch Saturday Night Live on Saturday night. Was about the writers and kind of the writing process they go through leading up to the show, which I got to tell you, like, I don't know how these writers keep their sanity. It is like a crazy process. And
back in the 80s, it was cocaine.
Well, fair enough. But it's even stranger, too, when they talk about, like, apparently, like, on Monday, they all get in Lauren's office, like, all of them, and they sit with the host and just start throwing ideas out at them to kind of see what, like, resonates. And then they go off and start writing sketches around those ideas. And I'm like, if I'm a host, like, what a strange, like, setting to just sit there and have, like, 30 people throwing ideas at you, and you're just kind of like, no, yeah, no, good God, no. Just like, holy crap, it's going to be so weird.
And I mean, that some of them are probably working a little bit ahead, but some of them probably aren't. And it is just that individual writing process, and it is that difference between, so there's for writing novels and screenplays too, any kind of length, any kind of lengthy fiction, there are plotters and there are pantsers. The plotters sit down, write an outline, plot everything out. The pantsers fly by the seat of their pants.
Yeah.
They just start typing and go until it's done.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go back and go, okay, what sort of wreckage do I have to clean up?
Yeah.
And it unfolds in front of them.
Yeah.
And I imagine there's a similar thing here where there are just people who, they need time to prepare and like, okay, Dwayne Johnson is coming in, so I'll do this and this and this. And so they've got kind of like a cheat sheet.
Yep.
And they've got ideas and they're coming up with ideas, but they're coming up off of them of thinking of it. Whereas others are just like get in the room and are like, oh yeah, you could do this, you could do that. And they just like, the ideas just pour out of them. Sort of like, people described like Paul Heyman booking ECW, where he would show up and would just sit there and be like, all right, you, and he'd be writing it down on a napkin.
Yeah.
while he's eating like a sandwich.
Yep. And
he'd book the show like right before the show.
Yeah.
And it would be these, epic storylines and stuff. It's fascinating. The whole writer thing, I definitely want to check that one out.
Yeah.
That sounds insane.
It's
cool.
very interesting to see the process, and it's incredible to see how quickly they go from writing a sketch to creating the sets that
those are the people those are the real heroes right there. Like the people who are coming up with the sets and the
it's
props.
incredible how quickly and they do this, not every week, but every week they have a live show. They've got to do this, and it's insane. I'm like, holy crap, how they retain their sanity is incredible. The funny part is during the cowbell one, Farrell talks about how like they go into a little detail of kind of how the sets are arranged in the studio. And apparently there's this one set that's like all the way down at the end that the crowd can't see really well, that they lovingly call Shit Can Alley. So he already figured like they had that going against him. The other funny anecdote he shares is after the fact that he tells a story about how he went to see a play that Christopher Walken was in. And he went to see Walken backstage after the show, and Walken basically says to him, he's like, "You've ruined my life." And he looks at him like, what do you mean? He's like,
and it's, you have to picture that like in the Christopher, you've ruined my life.
You've ruined my life. I go out for the cat call and there's a bunch of fans with cowbells. And there's even a point like right after that anecdote where Farrell, the interviewer asked Farrell's like, or Farrell asked the interviewer, he's like, did Walken want to speak for this documentary? And the interviewer was like, no. It's like, not at all.
Because
this has probably haunted him like
well, in a weird way, because like Walken, for as odd of a human being as he is, he loves acting. Like he is one of those guys who, if you give him bus fare, he'll show up.
Yep.
Like he just wants to work as much as humanly possible, and he's in everything.
And they said at least during the 90s, Christopher Walken was one of the more dynamic and fun hosts. Like you knew it was going to be a good night when he was hosting. And yeah, like I think about the sketch he was in, I don't know if you remember this one, called The Continental, where he's like, this froofy, wealthy person. He's like, "Welcome. Would you like some champagne?" Like it was always about the champagne, and it was always like from the point of view of the lady who was visiting him. So eventually it would end with a slap across the face or something like that. But he was always, he's always just so freaking funny. And in this sketch in particular, he just like nails the recording studio, producer like perfectly. Is like, well, I'm Walken Bruce Pritchard, not Bruce Pritchard. Bruce, no, what was his name? Was it?
I don't know, but
Bruce Dickinson.
Somewhere Bruce Pritchard is like, really?
Bruce Dickinson, something like that. It's like
royalties.
Cock of the Walk. Just
again, like I'm just hearing this in his voice.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
I got a fever, and the only prescription is more cowbell.
Well, the thing is, like, Christopher Walken is a bit like there's a clip. I'm going to try and put it in the show notes if I can find it. Willem Dafoe, when he's talking about, like, he says, try and do something really bad.
Yeah.
He's like, there's a freedom in that. Like if you're like, I'm going to try and do something really, really bad. I'm going to do a scene as bad as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, there's a freedom in that, and there's things that you realize in that, and about what is good and what is bad, and like we can look at movie stars and actors in like this light, and you realize like there is that artistic part of it.
Yeah.
And they're trying hard, but also they're taking chances. And when we like, oh, that sucks. It's like, well, that person was like going out on a limb. And they're like, I'm going to take a real chance with this. And of course, there's also the oh my gosh, one of my favorite like behind the scenes stories of Matt Damon talking about John Malkovich when he shows up to do Rounders.
Oh yeah,
they're going to shoot with him.
Yep.
And Malkovich does like the Russian accent, but it's like it's so over the top and weird and bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's been talking like, oh my gosh, and he's like, Malkovich is gonna be here. Malkovich, he's like, it's literally like being John Malkovich. Like people are like Malkovich, and so people have been looking forward to this because like this is the big get. And they shot all of his scenes in a couple days because that's all they could afford for that movie. And so he's doing this scene with Malkovich, and Malkovich is doing this like bizarre, weird thing, and Johnny and Matt Damon, Matt Damon is sitting across the table from like, is he effing with me? And everyone, he finishes the take, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, that's great, and it's obviously horrible.
Yeah,
but everyone's applauding it because it's John Malkovich. And he leans across the table, and Matt Damon leans in, and he's like, I am a terrible actor. Basically, like, this is what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody thinks you're great, you can do something that's complete crap, and everyone will still applaud you. But anyways,
incredible.
Yeah, no. So oh my gosh, I need to watch this, even though I'm on SNL. Did you get to 4, or are we still on 3?
Huh? Oh, the 4th
parts,
episode. Sorry. The 4th episode, which I haven't seen yet, is called The Weird Year. It's about season 11, which is when Lorne Michaels basically leaves, I think, in 1980 or 1981, and he comes back in like 85 or 86 or something like that. So those are the 4. So do check it out. SNL 50 Beyond Saturday Night on the Peacock. It is funny. It's very interesting. Really, really interesting, and just I enjoy viewing shows like this that give you that behind the scenes look, and you get to understand a little bit more about what goes into the show. It gives you a greater appreciation for it too, because it really is a miracle that these shows come together the way that they do each week. So what is your end and other thing, sir?
My end and other thing is going to be The Wild Robot, which I watched with my family earlier this evening.
Little snug,
and apparently scarred them.
Get the hanky.
And I'd heard that this was a really good movie, and I felt like it was a little bit of hype. So I didn't make an effort to go see it in the theater, and didn't really pursue it on streaming. And then my wife was like, hey, let's watch a family movie. And I'm like, okay, if I don't jump on this, I'm going to watch something that I really don't like. So I went on the Netflix and was searching through, and this came up real quick. And I'm like, oh, I remember this being pretty good, or mentioned, highly. And then saw like, Rotten Tomatoes like 97 or 98, and then the other, Netflix rating was 97 or 98. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I know that these ratings are kind of gigged in a way, but that's a kind of, I mean, this is like over the top if you're really trying to make these things way up in the stratosphere. So I was like, hey, let's watch this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously Kim and Kaylin both were like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a cute little movie. And within like 20 minutes, the room is so dusty. Everyone's crying. And then at the end, I got in trouble because I was told, well, you weren't crying. I'm like, no, I cried. They're like, I didn't see you cry. You need to cry right now. I'm like, oh my gosh, do I need to bottle the friggin' tears? Like,
you're dead inside.
I was getting weepy. Like, I don't cry like the tears like streaming down my face. I don't do the ugly cry. But as I've gotten older, I'm much more likely to get teary-eyed at stuff. And this movie is a fantastic storytelling. Oh my gosh, at the beginning, they take you to this place on this. So this robot is shipwrecked on an island, and you don't know how it happened. You're not quite in the same boat as the robot that gets there and doesn't know how it got there, but you're just a little bit, more knowledge than them. And then you're watching like the circle of life take place on this island, and you're watching things get eaten and all this stuff, and you're like, holy crap, this movie's going dark. Like in the first 20 minutes, like it's just hitting you over the head. Like, guess what? Things eat each other. Like, holy shit.
Jeez. Wow.
And I'm looking over, and Kaylin's just like,
horrified.
She's like, this movie's dark. I'm like, yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
But then it does that for a specific reason. Like, it then takes you to these places of light after that. I'm like, oh, you guys are, it's the Pixar method, but it was even more harsh than that, like, Mutual of Omaha sort of like, and then the Jaguar tears apart the baby wildebeest. Like, oh, jeez. And we're going to see all of it.
That's crazy.
But it's a great story. It is a tearjerker, especially if you have kids and if you have kids and you're not like, the absolute perfect family that nobody ever disagrees or anything like that. And then everyone winds up in therapy later on. Then again, we all wind up in therapy later on. But this idea of like clashes in family and imperfect families and imperfect relationships. And I really enjoyed it. Like I came out of that like, oh my gosh, this was a really good movie. It's very Iron Giant-ish.
Yeah.
As you aptly described it.
Yeah.
But a great watch for a family or just by yourself. I mean, hell, if you just by yourself and you want a good cry, this is a good one. This is a good one. Nice. But very well done, very well animated too. Very beautifully done. Love the style, love the color, palettes and just how vivid it was. It just kind of leapt off the screen and really sucked me in. So yeah, The Wild Robot, it's on Netflix, but of course, if you can find it, wherever else you want to download it, buy it, if you're one of those old school folks, you want to get the DVD, go ahead and do that. But I highly recommend it. It's a great flick. Great flick.
Nice. Very nice.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Daddy's drink is getting low, so the show must be almost over. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate your patronage, if you will. Thank you for listening, for watching, and joining the Free Range Idiocy congregation. If you're saying, I didn't know I joined the Free Range Idiocy congregation, well, too bad. You're part of it now. It's a nicer cult, but at the same time, we'll take whoever we get. All you have to do if you want to join the cult, and this is not quite the cult of Coronet, but close. You have to go to freerangeidiocy.com and you find all of our episodes there. You can download them one by one or all at once, and then of course you can join the congregation by subscribing through the Podbean app. If you say I've got quite enough apps in my life, then all you have to do is go to the podcast purveyor of your choice. We're on Apple Podcasts, we are on Spotify, Pandora, whatever the hell Amazon calls itself. Dozens and dozens of others. Just search for Free Range Idiocy and you will find us. You can find us on the social medias. We are on the Instagram. We are on the Facebook. We are on the YouTubes. That's right, YouTube. You can find us full HD video on the YouTubes. You can also find the video on Spotify. You can toggle back and forth between the audio and video there if you want. So if you get sick of our mugs, you can just go and say, I just need to hear these guys. I don't need to look it up. But all of those social medias are at Free Range Idiocy. If you have any questions, thoughts, suggestions, offers of outright bribery, blackmail, whatever, just send those to Tim at freerangeidiocy.com and he'll get back to you forthwith, if not sooner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, now they've gone through that spiel, it is time for me to hand over this show to the least idiotic of the two idiots who run this show, the only person on this planet, ladies and gentlemen, who I would trust to answer the second most important question in all of human history. The first, of course, being what is hip. The second being, what the high holy hell did we learn this episode?
We have learned the following, my friend.
Yes.
We have learned that Free Range Idiocy can go on without the Week in Geek. It is while it is a key part of the show, we every now and then will mix it up a little. This one in particular was a wrestling-only extravaganza that we saw through from the undercard to the main event.
Jabroni!
We've also learned that Uncle Todd will be dissected and analyzed by Miss Kayla from a poetry perspective.
I'm scared. I'm scared.
And he's going to be exposed.
I always figured the stuff would happen after I'm dead. Figured I'd have to face it.
So we will find out in the weeks to come if his poetry goes for the public.
I'd hope she isn't going to fail the project because of me. Like, no,
not going to
this stuff
fail
sucked.
because
It's
of
so
you.
bad.
Just
I'm
stop.
failing you as an example to other generations.
We've also learned that Uncle Todd may be committed after this project is done. The teacher's like, good God, what is this person writing about? Goodness. I'm kidding. Uncle Todd is very thoughtful and thought-provoking with his writing and with his poetry. Thank you for the Chipmunk the Ice routine over there. Good God Almighty. We've also learned, we've especially learned, JD McDonough, go easy, brother, on the moonsaults outside the ring. That was horrific what we saw on Monday Night Raw, and we don't need to see that again. So please, you have a larger cranium than normal, but don't play the house always wins. You know what I mean? Don't do it. Don't do it. But we wish him well in a speedy recovery from that, from what could have been a very horrific injury. So. We have also learned that the Royal Rumble is a stacked card. This is going to be good. Tag title match, World Championship match, and the 2 Rumbles. Oh, my God. Chef's kiss already, and we haven't even seen anything yet. That's how good it's going to be. But all that being said, we thank you.
You're definitely sending Triple H a Valentine's this year.
Dude, we have been spoiled beyond this show. In part, this show goes on the way that it has because of wrestling. Like, think about how many episodes we've done that have been based on wrestling.
Think of how successful we could be if we didn't focus on wrestling.
Well, 3 years ago, we did no episodes on wrestling. We were staying away from wrestling, quite honestly. There was a period you sir, went into almost like a permanent exile from wrestling because of one Vincent Kennedy.
Well, he was. I prefer if you didn't say his name, but yes, he was dead to me. Dead to me.
VKM. We'll just call him that.
I prefer venereal disease.
No, fair enough.
But you call him venereal, not that I would get him. But you call him venereal.
We have also learned
Carry on.
that The Wild Robot is a touching and emotional movie, and you should check it out based on the recommendation of Uncle Todd and his family, as they have partook of such a show and were basically buying stock in Kleenex afterwards, apparently.
I was highly criticized.
And we have also learned that we both can moderate ourselves a bit better with the bourbon. I'm feeling good. I'm not. After last episode, ladies and gentlemen, man, they called Tim went a little overboard. So just tell you,
we're doing confession now.
I'm just saying we have learned that ratcheting it back, we can still perform and have a good show here. So all that being said, we thank you for the listenership. And as we like to close things out here on the range, be safe, be healthy. I almost went be stealthy. Be stealthy.
You've been sneaking bourbon during all those bathroom breaks?
I don't know. These days, maybe we do need to be stealthy. I don't know. Just saying. How did I know that was going to trigger Uncle Todd as soon as I said that? Oh, all right.
Are we almost at the end?
As we like to, I was about to reset once you finish doing your mime over there. As we like to close things out, be safe, be healthy, be kind, be good to one another. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. The range is closed for now. See ya!
I like a Mussolini!
Bingo.
That's right, I took the wrong week to quit drinking.
I beg your pardon, what did you say?
Damn!
You're such a disappointing pair. I prayed so hard for you. Get out. And don't come back until you've redeemed yourselves.
So say we all. So say we all.
Bingo! In the front row.
In the front row.
That's right. That's right.
I love how you're talking about moderating bourbon, and here I am taking breaks like every 10 minutes. To be like, let me refresh my drinky poo.
Hey, you only refreshed it once, I thought. You
No,
did
twice.
Oh, twice. Oh, good Lord.
I'm thinking about doing it again.
I did better tonight. Let me tell you, I'm feeling copacetic and on par. So I am good to go.
I feel like I'm ready to take on a bear.
That's right. That's right.
Rabid Wolverine.
Taking on the world, baby.
Well, on that note.
Yes. That was good. Ah, there we go. There we go. Haven't heard much from the Glorious One lately.
Glorious. No, I won't give in till I'm victorious.
Oh, I love the rotation. Nice. Just don't hit your head on the mic, please.
I wouldn't put anything past me tonight.
I mean, you already J.D. McDonough'd your teeth for tonight, so there it is.
Glorious.
Yes.
No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend, and I'll do what I must. No, I won't give in,
Again, it's the same note.
I love it.
Now get the hell out of here!